Right.
Hello. Oh, hi.
Oh,
Oh, how you doing?
all right.
Well, you're thinking about other things. You're doing stuff usually, I think. Aren't you playing that game now?
Yep.
Which one's that?
Kingdoms of Amalur.
Yeah. I read you writing about that a little bit. It seems like you don't hate it. There's things you hate about how they did it or delivered it to you.
Oh yeah, there's a lot
You
of
don't
business
totally.
stuff
Mm,
related.
mm.
Yeah.
I can't even wrap my head around the existence of those games. You know, like people really play them. I can't even imagine it. You're just walking around in a Tolkien-esque world again, and gonna level up and stuff. It's like, whoa, no, no.
I'm not
Can't do
having
that.
this
I can't
again.
never can't do
I'm
it.
I'm not
I'm
having
just
this
saying,
again. We had all this with Skyrim. I'm not dealing with it.
I know the fact that
It's
another one came out already,
there's
they should
there
space those out every 10 years. 10
no
years.
there should be one every 10 days. There is not enough of them that you can have.
People just love it. They love walking around there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. They should love it. But I can't. I can't even begin to think about doing it. It would be so hard for me. It'd be so sad. But I was going to say hot and cold, you put hot on it, right?
Right.
And that causes it to expand, which you want. And then you put cold on it, and then it contracts, which you also want. I guess that makes the pain go away. I know about pain because I have a lot of people that come into the hospital and they're like, in pain, give me that OxyContin. And they're like, you're in pain. We have this whole list of cool things you can do instead of take OxyContin. And then they get mad and leave.
So tell me more about this Oxycontin. What does that do? Because I am in agony. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pod. Might as well start now. Welcome to
Oh,
Podtoid,
we're
by the
starting?
way. I will start right now. If you've just tuned in, as if I'm recording before then that they've missed, we're talking about my twisted spine, which I broke. Definitely a broken
That's so
back, I
sad.
think. Definitely broken back.
Aw.
Um,
And how'd you do it again? And
just
you didn't
asleep.
do it.
Of course, I didn't do it with any physical exertion. That
Or no
doesn't
one hit
happen.
you with a crowbar or anything. It's just in your sleep, the
Yeah,
spine broke.
it
Yeah.
happens sometimes. So, hurt my back. I think I twist and turn violently. But it's stuck this time because this has been going on since Saturday night, or Sunday morning. So it's been going for a while. Usually it clears up usually it clears up as soon as I get out of bed. Like, I'll wake up with a hurt spine, but I'll stand up and it'll be fine and then I'm okay. But it's really stuck this week.
Ah.
Just sitting in the chair, sort of every now and then, it will just be like, ha 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 ha, you have not been hurt for a bit, so I'll do that now, ha ha ha. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I am Jim Sterling, the reviews editor for Destructoid. Max Scoville's going to be along in a minute. Jonathan Holmes might be here soon, but in the meantime, I've been talking and taking medical advice from the Prophet Muhammad, who is a very special guest. And you can
I'm
tell
not.
he's having a laugh, having a good old fun time. So how are you doing, Moham? Do you mind if I call you Moham? I mean, actually, no, I
Is
wouldn't,
it
because the
Mo?
last thing you do is want Moham, because Islam. That's a good religion joke, isn't it? Fucking
I
hell.
had an awkward moment like that with Hamza once because I thought it was Hamza before I met him. Hamza is, of course, he's the community director now, right?
Uh,
As opposed to community manager,
I think
director of
I think he crowned him.
communications.
Yeah, he crowned himself director of communications, like he's on the Death Star or something. Arrogant urchin.
He's also in charge of, I guess he's in charge of the intros we put before our Destructoid videos because I've been trying to make a new one with Podtoid listener McFly Gold. He's been doing really hard work on it. It's turning out really good. But it's all got to meet the approval of Hamza now. Isn't that weird that Hamza's just a little boss of all these different things? He just crowns himself king. It's funny.
He is. He
He
is.
just did. It's like, I
He
am the king.
is.
I'm like, okay, Hanzo. And it
Lord of
works.
the
He gets stuff done.
Flies is what he is. Lord of the Flies.
Well, we are sort of like giant children on an
Yeah.
island of being famous video game
Yeah.
journalists.
And I am that
It's weird.
fat one they dropped a rock on the head of. Did they
Did they
do
kill
that?
him?
Oh, I don't know. Everything I know about Lord of the Flies I learned like second hand.
Yeah, from
I
like a
just
Simpsons
know.
parody or something.
Yeah, I mean, I just know that there were kids on an island, and then some fat guy had a rock dropped on his head.
That's about right. Yeah, it's a sad story. Piggy, I think his name was, which is kind of mean. He wasn't really that fat. He's just fatter than the rest. It's all on a spectrum, Jim, of fats
Oh
and
yeah.
others. Yeah,
So
Some people,
children are
yeah.
cruel. Children are cruel.
Children are cruel. I do
Yeah.
not wish to go back to those days. Maurice Tan was arguing about one of those sword and dragon games. I think it's a new King Arthur one. And I was like, oh, that game makes me feel like I'm a lonely teenager who just wants to kill an orc alone in my room. He's like, well, better than being an old man or a little kid. I'm like, actually, no. Being a teenager was the hardest time in life. That's when people were the most mean, I think. I would much rather be a kid again or transport to being like 60 than have to just experience teenagehood again. Well, how about you, Jim? How was teenage life for you?
It was alright.
Was it all right, teenagers?
I've not changed since I was 5 years old. At all.
Well, yeah, I haven't changed a lot either in my own mind, but I'm talking about having to experience that life. Like, when has your lifestyle been the best? When have people been the best to you? What stage of life has been the best in that way?
I was
Now?
called fat in school, fat in teenager place, fat at college, and fat working for Destructoid. So, like I said, things haven't changed for me since I was 5 years fucking old.
That's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that, but there's got to be some differences other than that. I mean, now you do get enormous amounts of fan mail. Now you do have people who are so intimidated by your greatness that they won't even talk to you. They talk to me anytime
Hey
you
guys,
want. I don't. Oh, hi
Hello,
Max. How are
Max.
you?
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just
Okay,
saying
good.
that I think Jim might be in the greatest time of his life yet. What do you think, Max? Do you think this is Jim's greatest time of life?
I don't know, but I. What's a polite way of saying no? I don't
No,
know.
you think he's had better times than this?
We
No.
get a lot of emails about pedophilia, so
I do. I get a lot of emails.
Oh yeah,
we all do.
I've got to say,
You do too, Max?
about that.
Uh-huh.
God, Max didn't want to tell you, Jonathan, but I guess
Yeah.
I'll have to do it because I know how much you enjoy certain discussions we have on Podtoid, but I'm going to keep it pedo light this week. No offense,
Oh,
Jonathan.
you are?
I think what you do with it is very funny, and I know you're
What?
probably heartbroken that we're kind of scaling that back, but I think it's kind of run its course for a little bit, so we should probably ease off if that's okay with you,
You
Jonathan.
think so? Maybe. You think? I don't know. I think it has.
People don't
just weird
seem tired of
when it goes
to me. Yeah.
I know, because some of them are actually pedophiles.
Oh.
I mean, when it goes from being like, like a joke where we just kind of fuck with you to people being like, excuse me, I actually, as a trained professional, is it okay if I have sex with children? And that's not funny. That's horrible.
Yeah,
When we get these emails.
I think that's the thing, Jonathan, is I think you pushed it a bit too far. And that's
Yeah.
why I decided to sort of step in and say, okay, enough. Let's ease off. Let it simmer down. And, maybe, once in a while, do some light joking. But, Jonathan, you got to make sure to let them know you're joking in future.
Yeah.
Okay?
Wow.
I had a great
it-
I had a great idea for something. It's an
You did?
idea.
Is it pedophilia or not?
We'll have to wait and see. The idea is, Jim,
Yeah.
what if you and I went over to Jonathan Holmes' house and just ruined his lawn. Just ruined his front lawn.
That'd be. Can you imagine how happy Jonathan Holmes would be to wake up, look out of his window, and see us in the front lawn with shovels just digging holes?
It wouldn't just have to be shovels. It could be like, maybe one week. It would always be a different way to ruin Jonathan Holmes' lawn.
Yeah.
Just what if we ruined your lawn? Like it wouldn't even be during the day. It would be maybe at night. We'd come by at night with a bulldozer, or I don't know, maybe a steamroller, because we don't know how to drive a bulldozer. So we're just ruining Jonathan Holmes' lawn.
That would be. I'm all for that, because just think of Jonathan's eyes lighting up when he finds that we've put 50 foxes and chickens in his front yard.
Yeah, like what if we got a bunch of...
What?
What if we tried to plant a cat tree? Like get a bunch of cats from the pound and just dig a big hole and put the cats in it and then bury them, and there'd just be cats coming out of the ground just screeching and hissing and...
Yeah.
That's I don't have a lawn. There is a back lawn
That'll do.
I think
that'll do. If it's big enough, if it's big enough for me to put a tire fire in it, then
exactly.
It's pretty big. It's pretty big, but it's my landlord's for sure. My landlord lives right above me. It's a two-family home.
Let's just make this clear. He's not mine and Max's landlord.
No, you're right.
The plan's back on.
He'd be really mad, and he would make, I assume, me pay for everything. He'd probably try to evict me too.
Yeah. It's a work-related thing. You could write off the payment on your taxes.
I don't know if having your coworkers destroy your landlord's property counts as a work expense.
They do it in Jackass, and they get it all sorted.
If it's not your lawn, why do you live there? Why do you live there? Because why can't we fucking just ruin your fucking lawn, Holmes? Why can't we just come to your house with our bulldozer full of feral cats and just bury them?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but America did win the war for independence, didn't it?
Yeah, apparently, except for at Jonathan Holmes' house where he lives with his Uncle Hitler.
Where you piss on the memory of the sacrifice that was made so that America could be free from British tyranny.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you're tired of eating all that sauerkraut and you have to go to the bathroom, you out of toilet paper, but there's American flags and you hate freedom. Fuck you, Holmes.
You see it and you twirl your French moustache because French coward.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to destroy my landlord's lawn.
Because I've got the lord of the land. This is America. This is your land. Fight for it. March up to the landlord's door, knock on it. When he opens it, stab him in the neck with a letter opener, and declare independence. Take his 2 apartments, so me and Max can live above you, and we can all be best friends.
How do you declare independence? You just yell independence?
Yeah, I was going to say you should stab him with a trident, because it could be like a symbolic stabbing, really. Because the first tine of the trident represents truth, and the second one represents justice, and the third one represents burying dead cats in your lawn.
Right. Okay, Jonathan. We need you to get a trident. Now, I don't know where you get one of them. That's your job. Look, we all contribute to the podcast. We all do things. Okay, I look at forums full of misogynists. Max Scoville comes up with he's the ideas man. He's the Hannibal of this A-team.
I make disguises and I wear them by myself.
Exactly, and he loves it when a plan comes together. And you, Jonathan, buy tridents and other vaguely Atlantean weaponry for whatever purpose we may need.
Who are you, Jim? Your face, then?
I consider myself the Murdoch. He's unpredictable, but does things.
Jim is the van? He's the entire van. The van was my favorite character by far. When the van was just on screen, I enjoyed A-Team the most. So that makes me... I think I'm the Murdoch, because he's the one who has to do all the stuff no one wants to do.
You are Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
I'm when the Disney afternoon started to lose steam and people were no longer singing the theme songs all day and the characters were getting tired and boring. Thanks.
And you get dangerous.
I do. Darkwing Duck wasn't all bad. It was better than Bonkers, but it was not half as good. Shit. Yeah, Bonkers just didn't work out. But it's nowhere near as good as DuckTales, obviously. And I suppose you're the DuckTales. Are you guys the DuckTales?
Woo!
Oh, I want to be the DuckTales too.
I like race cars and lasers and aeroplanes.
Yeah. And I am the danger that is
Yeah.
close behind you or whatever it was. I can't remember.
Yeah,
Life is
that's-
like a hurricane when you're an alcoholic.
Whoa. I didn't expect that to happen. It is like a hurricane.
Race cars, lasers, alimony payments. Fuck my
It's
ex-wife.
That's
There's a lot of
isn't it?
gentlemen who would like to sing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's
I got
talk
ba- I
about
got-
let's do man
Yeah.
baby stuff. Let's get that. Let's focus on
Oh,
what's
yeah.
important for Podtoid.
Oh, can I tell a funny
I
story,
was
guys?
banned. I was
I have
banned
a
by
funny
the
video game
forums.
story.
Yes, Max. I'd like to hear it.
Okay, so just like maybe 20 minutes ago, Tara put up a video of we got the collector's edition of The Darkness 2, and she did an unboxing video, and there was this great little Darkling statue that's wearing a dead cat as a suit. And
Yeah, I saw that.
it's pretty cool. And in this video, she opened up the box, and there was the code in there for the DLC, for like the limited edition shit that comes with the pre-order or whatever. And in about 2 minutes since we put the video up, somebody managed to go in and read the code from inside the box in a video.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You do not
Yeah.
fucking. You got to obscure that shit. Yeah.
Live and learn, you know? I didn't have anything to do with that. I was busy photoshopping Mortal Kombat blood. So
Onto what? Onto you?
on the Vita. Yeah, we have a
Oh,
video going up tomorrow about the Vita, and so for that I was like, I get to make a 1990s ad for Mortal Kombat, so I just downloaded
cool.
like 19 megabytes of blood splatter brushes for Photoshop, and just took a picture of Scorpion and put a picture of the Vita next to him, and just had blood all over the Vita. So I'm very excited about this thumbnail I'm making.
That's awesome. I'm glad you get to do so much of the creative stuff on the show. Besides just be the talent, you get to be the production talent as well, which is
It's
great.
exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's fun shit.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wow, you sounded so breathy and kind of horny about it,
Oh yeah.
which is good.
I can't tell if it's because I'm in a weird room or something, or I have to be really
You're at
quiet.
Revision 3 right now, right?
I'm in the
Yeah,
workshop
yeah.
again, and they're shooting
Oh,
something
yeah.
in the studio, and I don't know what it is, but it involves children and a green screen, so I might be part of the next Spy Kids movie by accident. I'm not sure.
I forgot. They started doing that children's type deal shortly after I moved from San Francisco. They were doing kid stuff kind of frequently there, weren't they? For a little while. Kid show.
No, not when I'm here.
No.
I don't
Fuck
like
the
children.
pair of you. The week I decide to say pedo, like, off, just that,
Uh-huh.
just opening after opening.
Yep.
Pun
You love all
intended.
those-
Ha, ha, ha.
All these just children and their openings.
Yeah. Unbelievable. You see,
How
I had
many
to bite my tongue and not say
You
it.
just wanna slip something in
Yeah.
there. You wanna bite some tongues. Yeah.
Right. Because otherwise people get whiny and moaning and, oh my
Yeah.
god, I wanted to listen to a video game podcast and you talked about paedophiles for 2 hours. Oh dear. I'm sorry if that's, what we all like to talk about on Podtoid. I don't know about anyone else, but that is the reason why I agreed to be on it again. I wasn't going to do it, and then Nero said you can talk about paedophiles as much as you like. So, I'm sorry that apparently that's a bad thing. Doing this for
Is
free.
that why you want to talk about it less? Because did the numbers go down, or were there complaints?
The numbers
Did Matt
are
Scoville
fine.
complain?
The numbers are fine. I'm just
Okay.
sick of people whining.
About too much pedophilia.
Oh, too much
On the video.
pedophilia. Oh god!
Should we-
I want to hear what the people who write about video games every day think about video games.
Well, they want to take us with them. They want to be with us in a way. And this is their way to do it. When you read someone's words, you feel like they're going into your head with you. But when you listen to them talk, you feel like they're physically with you. And it's a great feeling for them with the podcasting and the internet.
If they were physically with me, they'd get more pedophilia than they get on this. So, I literally,
I hear ya.
Yeah. God
Yeah.
damn it. One guy said on one of the new reviews on iTunes said that they occasionally talk about video games if you can cut through 2 hours of pedo-obsessed babble.
That's not true. That's not true.
It's
Do you
not.
want to talk about video
It's
games? Because
2
I'll do
hours
it.
of babble, but the pedo obsession is only a fraction of it.
Really, there's a lot of
say
other
half
things
hour.
that are just fundamentally wrong with this podcast, other than the fact that we talk about pedophilia.
There's nothing wrong
I guess-
with it.
I'm in a fucking workshop, and I'm like whispering like I'm fucking like Anne Frank because there's children and a green screen in the next room.
It's pretty funny. I know that workshop too. If it still looks the way it did in late 2010, it's not like
It looks
being in a
scarier.
normal room.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it looks
Oh, it looks
scarier.
scarier now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's really
It was
scary.
very much out of. It's like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre side room sort of a feeling. Like someone might got strung up in there. There's saws and just a.
there's a bottle of something that's like bright orange and looks really delicious, but it says water wetter on it. water wetter.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, I'm not going to try to make a joke about that because it's inherently funny. But should we talk about video games? Is that what you want? I'll do whatever
can
you
do
want,
that.
guys.
You know what, guys?
Yeah,
I started
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 4.
Oh, that's an old
Yeah.
game.
Yeah,
Sort
it
of.
is.
I mean,
But I'm on my ongoing
How do you like
quest
it so far?
to. I've literally played like half an hour, and I just got to the part where you suddenly have radar. But I'm just like, I'm taking my time with it, and I'm really excited for this game. It's like it seriously is like dessert after playing the HD collection and playing Snake or Twin Snakes. It's just like this is such a fucking beautiful game, and I just want to
Aw, I'm glad
I
you
want
like
to eat it like I want to eat it like a quiche, like just like slowly, and just I want to make stupid smacking noises with my lips while I'm doing it.
It took me forever to beat that game because, in part, I didn't have any interest to rush through it. It's such a love letter to the insanity that they've built into the Metal Gear Solid series by that time, and to the fans who have put up with it, like all the fans who
that's
have
really the
been
vibe I've
waiting
gotten.
for answers. Yeah,
I mean,
it's for
I'm
the
pretty
fans,
much.
absolutely.
It's it's just like at this point I don't like I don't care about any flaws Kojima's games might have. I just want to look at fucking old Snakes, like smooth buttocks, and just watch them in the sand, just creeping around in the sand with those buttocks.
That's nice. That's what he wanted you to feel. Absolutely. Yeah, it's a good game. It's not one I doubt it won over any new fans at all, though. That's not a game that expands your audience.
It's impenetrable if you've not played the others.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I've been waiting, because I hadn't had a chance. Like I told myself, there were a few opportunities I had to pick it up and play it, and I was just like, it doesn't feel right. Like I haven't played 2 in a decade. I haven't played 3 for more than 10 minutes, and it's like I want to do this proper, I want to buy her dinner, and I want to give her some flowers, and then I want to fuck her,
Aw, that's nice. You're doing it. That's exactly
Sort of.
what you're doing to that lovely lady. She likes it. She's fine. She's fine with it.
Yeah.
Mega Man's in the Street Fighter cross Tekken.
I'm sold.
You're all feelings about it.
I'm fucking sold.
You're sold on it. I saw your
want
episode
it.
of the Destructoid show. You were excited about it. And
So
Jim did
he's-
some fan art about it already.
Yep.
Jim did
Yeah,
fan
this
art.
is the best thing a video game publisher has ever done. I want to make that absolutely clear.
It's such a wonderful move.
Yeah, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened, ever.
Yeah.
Wow. Why?
Yeah.
I did not expect that out of both of you. You both know, or you might know, that I'm excited about it. I broke the news that night. I was dead tired. I could barely move. But when I heard the news, not only did I write the post, but I ended up accidentally writing like a 9-paragraph feature about why I thought it was a brilliant move on Capcom's part and hilarious. And there's only with a vague understanding that some fans might be mad about it. It wasn't to counter the fact that I thought fans would be mad about it. It was a genuine feeling of excitement I had that was born solely out of my excitement from seeing the trailer. But since then, yeah, fans are still angry about it, I guess, and they're insisting that this is intentional trolling. What? Well, tell me about that. Well, first tell me, Jim, why do you think it's such a great idea? And you too, Max. Why do you?
Probably for the same reason that the fans hate it. I think that the reason the fans hate it is the reason I love it. And the fact that they hate it makes me
Okay.
love it even more. It's just...
Okay.
We were actually talking about it, I think, last week. About... Oh, I think maybe the week before, about Valve and Kojima and how they get these rabid fans that clearly love what they do but can't stop complaining. No matter what they do. So they kind of give up and just intentionally troll them and have fun with it. And Capcom... played that, and Inafune was fine with it, and I think it was a fun move. It messes with their minds. They're all still going to play it, and everyone else can have a laugh.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. I think it's reminding people that there are, after a certain point, it just becomes fan service. And I have a lot of respect for any kind of, especially with video games, because there's so many people involved that it's hard to have one kind of, like, have more decisive moves or to have, like, any kind of creative vision, which is what I love about Kojima, or, for instance, Valve having really just high quality output. And then Capcom, it's a totally different story because they crank out a lot of, I'm not going to say garbage, but a lot of content to the point where it's sort of...
It's good. It's high quality content. It's been well-crafted games, but they're not necessarily looking to make art games a lot of the time.
Yeah, I know. It's like when you get like fucking 15 extra large pizzas, you get kind of sick of pizza.
Sure.
But I think that this is such a great move where it's just like, no, fuck it, we're having fun. Like, shut up. Just fuck you.
Well, my point was I did not think that Capcom thought that fans would be angry about this. They've got a history of being rewarded for making this exact joke. Like when they did the Mega Man 9 bad box art, the fans universally loved it. Nobody said, "Oh, that's stupid, don't do that box art. I wanted better box art than that." They liked it. In Mega Man 10 they did bad box art, and then Mega Man Universe they announced that bad box art Mega Man would be in the game, and they're all excited about that. And everyone loved that. I think Capcom probably didn't get that fans are this particular about the exact Mega Man they want in their exact game. I don't think that they're in touch with that bitterness, because it's a weird, illogical bitterness that I don't fully understand it.
Those people don't need to be rewarded; they need to be punished.
And I think that's why you guys like it. But I don't know if Capcom meant to punish them. It's impossible to know until I ask Capcom. I'm going to try to get Seth Killian to tell me about it, what he knows from the inside. But yeah, I thought it was a great move.
Regardless of their intent, we all know the result, and I'm thrilled with the result. It reminds me of the kind of thing I'd love to do if I were to ever join that side of the game industry, which I have no plans to do, but I would love to do that. Just really fuck with them, because they're gonna complain whatever. Like, if they put the real Mega Man in, they'd find something to be upset about. Like, they'd say, "Oh my god, he's a shit character," or they disrespected him by not making his moves powerful enough, or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're gonna piss them off either way, you might as well do it in the most glorious way possible. And this totally unpredictable curveball is glorious.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between doing something sort of trollish and good-natured like this, and say for instance, I don't know, completely redesigning a franchise, or like completely overhauling something, or like just throwing a curveball that really affects everybody. This is just like, dude, they've got Pac-Man riding around in a fucking 2,000-year-old oak tree robot. Like, no one's like, "Oh, hey, Pac-Man's riding around in a headless Mokujin. Like, what the fuck is that?" It's like, no, man. They're like, Mega Man's fat. That's stupid.
Yeah, they. My thinking is that Capcom is acknowledging how they are old and tired in a lot of ways. Because Pac-Man is there to represent Namco, and Mega Man's there to represent Capcom in this crossover game. And, Pac-Man is, like, cute and fun and classic character, combined with that oak tree robot you described, who's actually the Tekken wood dummy character who can take on the fighting traits of all the other guys. So it's kind of like new Namco and old Namco together teaming up to form.
Well, I'm furious about Pac-Man.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that fucking pisses me off that they didn't use the Pac-Man from the animated cartoon.
With the hat?
With the hat. Going, I'm gonna punch you with my fists! I'm obnoxious and a cunt. See, that's what I want from my Pac-Man.
It's got to be the right Pac-Man. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. No one complained that it wasn't classic, just yellow, no eyes, dot-eating Pac-Man. Nobody complained about that.
I would love to make a fighting game. I would, like, if I was going to make a video game, I would love to make a fighting game just because it would be like, it is probably the stupidest genre. It is probably the dumbest genre. Just
more than puzzle games, you think?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, because the thing is, no one ever's like, oh yeah, this puzzle game, like, let's make up individual biographies about all of these different bejeweled jewels, or like,
Hey, I've got a pretty cool novel that I'm writing for Bejeweled. I'll have you know. Yeah, it's set 5 millennia before the original Bejeweled game, and it tells you how the Bejeweled became so bejeweled.
I remember when I was like, that was a bunch of. I knocked over a bunch of fluorescent light bulbs. It scared me. I don't think I'm supposed to be in here.
You're not. Are you on the ground? Are you standing up? What are you doing?
I'm standing by the table with the laptop.
Oh, okay.
I see.
Professionals! Professionals standing in a storage cupboard with a laptop knocking bulbs over.
I'm effectively in a construction site right now. A cement mixer just drove by.
Fantastic.
Oh, but what was I was saying...
you were saying you want to make fighting games.
Fighting games, because they're fucking hilarious. They don't make any sense. Like, look at Marvel vs. Capcom. That's like fucking fan fiction. And like, I'm a person who's sort of like... I'm generally kind of a purist about how things are done. I mean, I made a big hissy fit about Minecraft Legos because that didn't click with me. But Marvel vs. Capcom is just so like batshit retarded. I'm just like, yeah, do it. Go nuts. You've got a fucking magic dog, and you've got Mega Man, and then you've got Deadpool. It's like, why not? Who cares? Beautiful Joe, if he existed in the same world as like Cyclops, he'd be this like, I mean, he looks more like MODOK than a human being. Like, it's just like a stupid concept. And then I love that I really want Soul Calibur 5 because that looks just like, it's like, hey, what if Street Fighter was porno? And then they
they've gone up pretty much full.
It's so filthy.
I love fighting games in theory. I've said before I can't play them to save my life, but I love how ridiculous they are. Mortal Kombat as well. I think we said on Podtoid, like, Mortal Kombat is clearly Ed Boon just saying, I don't give a fuck. Lizard ninjas, go on, have some. Freddy Krueger, why not?
That's what I love. Is it's just like it totally works because it doesn't work,
and yet it's got some of the most serious po-faced fans.
Of course.
Oh sure.
Yeah. People complaining, oh my god, Freddy Krueger doesn't belong in Mortal Kombat. What? At what point did it become ridiculous? Was it some point between the fucking vagina-mouthed woman and the reptile lizard ninja? At what point did fucking Mortal Kombat jump the spiky fetish shark?
Yep.
It's true. They it's a weird genre because it attracts two very different types of fans, I think even more so than like first person shooters do. The diehard fighting game fans who are in it for truly trying to excel at something are real haters of the people who play them just because they're something to do with your friends for fun.
Yeah,
that's the thing is, again, we're coming back to these people who they need to be shaken out of their Asperger's coma or whatever, where they just like...
Well, you know, they want respect.
I just got to admit, I can't see the joy in... Once you start talking about, like, hitboxes, and once you start talking about tiers, when you start tiering the characters and say these ones will never be used because they suck, and these are like the ultra tier, and these are the banned ones, and it's like... It takes the joy out of it for me. Like, you get these people that they play Pokemon, which is a game about, you know, little electric rats running around making cute noises. But they don't see them as that. They see them as flowcharts and spreadsheets and numbers. And you might as well just be like, get rid of all the monsters and just have two equations fighting each other.
Yeah.
You've gotta equate them all. And that's basically what it boils down to. And it to me, I don't see how it's a game anymore, or I don't see the appeal. It's like, why did you get into Pokemon in the first place? Why did you get into Street Fighter in the first place if you can't even see those elements that make it fun anymore, and you're just looking at hitboxes and numbers and...
No, you need to have fun.
Yeah, and I assume
it's a fun
I'm
thing,
coming across as very ignorant to people that are into that kind of thing.
No, I don't think so.
I'm certainly
No, I don't
not saying
think
don't do it. You know, if that's
Well,
what
even the
gets you
most
off,
diehard... Yeah, I know some very, very passionate Street Fighter fans who are really competitive, but they don't let themselves cross that line to where the game is playing them and they're not playing the game anymore, where they're having a miserable time just thinking about stats. But they still try to be the best that they can to a point before it turns into work. Yeah.
I mean, this is where, like, going back again to Pokemon, which is another game that adults take far too seriously. You know, if I want to use an Ekans in Pokemon, I'm gonna use an Ekans. But then you look it up on the internet and people are like, oh my god, you don't use that one. You don't use that one. And it's like, there are like 300 odd Pokemon now, but in your mind it's been boiled down to about 10. And that's not fun for me. Clearly it's fun for some people, and, you know, more power to them, but I don't know, I think, as you say, like, perspective and making sure you're playing the game and not just sort of...
Well, it's funny, this is a really, really weird thing for me to say, but I was subjected to the new XBLA version of NFL Blitz, you know, the fucking crazy football game which was the thing that separated it from the other football games, is that you could tackle people and beat them up, which made it slightly more exciting than a football game. And apparently the NFL was like, no, that's bad. We don't like that. Completely missing the point that the reason the game was popular in the first place was because of that. Like, that's what people liked about it. They're like, no, we've had head injuries recently. We don't want to send that message. And it's like, yeah, okay, you have fun with your sports and your rules and your statistics. We'll be over here with video games, which are fun. It's kind of my thing that I don't like about esports, is that it's putting competition ahead of, like, play. And it's like, I like video games because you play with them. I don't like video games because they are... I mean, I do like them also as a storytelling medium, but as a means of competition, it's never been the appeal for me. I like playing Mortal Kombat with my dumb friends when we're drunk and we just shout things at each other, and it's like, there's blood everywhere and just boobies flopping all over the place and people shooting harpoons out of their hands and shouting stuff that's totally out of character.
And I don't want to stereotype, but every esports person I've ever seen is furious at everything. Angry at everything. And they perceive so many slights against what they, you know, have built their lives around. By the way, you're not perceiving anything with this if you're listening to this. This is a slight. I totally mean this as a complete insult against you and everything you believe in. But they get so, like, we had it on Destructoid when Elsie wrote the blog. It was just a community blog that got promoted, just with some critical stuff about esports, nothing too harsh, and got totally attacked for it. And we had, that DJ Wheat, or you know, whatever he calls himself, just slagging off Destructoid because of it, because we promoted this one blog that had an opposing point of view on esports. And I'm like, you know, they want to be taken seriously, but if you're defending what a random Destructoid reader said about you, I don't know how anyone could take you seriously. It would be like John Madden getting upset because, like, his next door neighbour's friend said that football wasn't a real sport, and then John Madden went on the internet and wrote a huge blog defending why football is a sport. It's like, if you're that confident that it's a sport, then let it be a fucking sport, and don't get so angry all the time. I don't know. I mean,
I just hate that it's like, if you want to be competitive and, like, really serious about a game where half-naked cartoon characters punch each other and throw magic at each other, That's cool. You can do that, but I'm not going to play with the game
Sure.
with you because you're a cunt. Like, it's
Yeah.
pretty much that.
I mean, I'll say this as well. I want to be fair, right? I want to be fair here because
Yeah.
I've actually got no problem with esports. Just the sort of cuntiness that kind of surrounds it. But esports as a thing, I'm fine with. You know, I don't care whether you want to call it a real sport or not. It's just a cool idea that, you know, competitive gaming, not something I'd be into partaking in, but something I enjoy watching. I know there's nothing like watching a Street Fighter match between two guys with a crowd who's really into it. Like, that's really cool. That's awesome. There's a lot of good that esports does, and I think it's only fair to sort of say that. While it's still fun, that's the caveat. Esports is great while it's still fun, while people are entertained and feeling good. When it gets to sort of people taking it so seriously and getting angry and furious at each other, I fail to see where the sort of, you know, where you're getting anything out of it at that point.
Yeah, I think that as long as you're not getting angry at someone for what they think of a game or why they enjoy a game, then you're doing fine in my book. You can take it as seriously as you want to, but as soon as you get mad at me for not taking it as seriously, or that time that people got really angry at me when I suggested that maybe the tiers of Street Fighter 3 Third Strike aren't meant to be taken as fact and are in fact just kind of a working theory that people are trying to utilize, but is still evolving, and you can't say that one character is definitely worse than the other one just because of how they've done in tournaments, in this country anyway. People completely lost their shit at me for suggesting that they're... Yeah, that turned me off to that type of thinking.
People will never know the touch of a woman. Which is great. I think it's good.
I think they will. There are women
do
like
not
that
stereotype people like that. They will know the touch of a woman when they rape them, which they inevitably will. Don't stereotype. That's not fair.
They will know the touch of a woman when mom comes over to pry the sweaty controller from their hands after they pass out after 3 days of competitive gaming.
And then she kisses them on the lips and they have sex with her in the arsehole.
Yes, that's what happens, Jim. That's exactly how it works.
Everyone who has ever been in an esports tournament or just looked at one has had anal sex with their mothers.
Can someone quote him on that, please? Hello, internet. Sure. Can you quote Jim on that?
I'll go on record. Jim Sterling from Disrupted.com says at esports tournaments they all they shower with $5. The first man on the show floor to be fucking his mother up the ass. Definitely, I've seen it happen on a video because if you see it directly, you become one of them. And you
saw a disgusting, horrible, crude colored pencil drawing on lined paper that some idiot scanned into DeviantArt that had pictures of animal people fucking each other in the ass, and you somehow thought that was esports. I don't know why, Jim, but
hey, look,
because it's what you do.
I'm just saying, esports is fine. It's cool. It's positive, but stop fucking your mothers up the arse.
Yeah. Get out of there. Get out of there, kid.
Get out of there, naughty boy. That isn't for you. That's for your mum to poop out of. You have sex with your wives in the arse if you want, but not your mother's because she gave birth to you and nurtured you and cherishes you.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think it's funny how people, whether they say Ekans is a shitty Pokemon or they say that Jonathan Holmes is a Hitler for his review of Street Fighter Third Strike or whatever. The fact is, people like to rally around something. They like to pick sides. They like to have something to defend. And the funniest thing is when people get defensive or get like on YouTube. I know we always do this. We always go back to like things that people said to us, but it's kind of like this is like us with megaphones being like, talking shit, basically. That's what we do here.
Sure.
The funniest thing, though, is I did a video with Jackie Talbot, who works at Revision 3, and we did a Modern Warfare video together, because I don't like Modern Warfare.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, it was fun. And these kids were just like, this bitch is ignoring Max, get her! And I'm like, no, stop it. No.
Get her.
She's my friend. I work with her. It's a video. It's not real. And then other times we have there's this rivalry that's been generated between the Detoid show and New Challenger, the show that Anthony Carboni does, and people seem to think that we're like enemies. But no, we're not enemies. We had people coming in the chat and they're like, "Yep, New Challenger's a better show," and we're like, "Yeah, man, apples are better fruits than oranges, dog. Fuck you." Like,
New Challenger is not a news show. I haven't seen it in a week or so.
It's really not.
It's not a news show, right? It's it's like a review of.
Yeah,
a
but they
review
are
show.
videos that talk about video games, therefore identical. Like those two ginger fat people in Terminator 2 and Gremlins 2: The New Batch.
Yes.
Oh, I love those
Yes.
guys.
Yeah,
They're
well, that
Terminator
is what
2?
happens.
Oh,
I get people, like, because the video game show what I'd done went on Machinima last week.
It did.
Debuted. Interesting. And I hadn't had this accusation in a long time, but the second it went up, because it was a video by a British guy who wasn't on camera, oh my god, this guy's a Yahtzee ripoff. And,
Whoa.
this guy wants to be Yahtzee. I've been accused, and and I never get accused of it in the written word because my accent's not on the paper, on the digital paper. I don't really get it on the Jimquisition because I'm there live action for a lot of it. But the video game show what I've done, which is so far unlike Zero Punctuation of anything I do, just because it's a British guy not on the camera, that's good enough for them to make accusations of plagiarism or make ridiculous comparisons. It's so weird, people compare things on the most flimsy of bases.
Or they just don't get the joke at all. I was so happy about how many Machinima YouTube comments were just like, pretty good review, man, but I don't think you really got the point of the game.
Yeah, why are you using Crisis 2 footage, man? I loved it. I honestly did. Like, when the Jimquisition first debuted on The Escapist and it got, like, utterly ripped to shreds, that was a humbling thing, and it kind of sort of took me for six because I'd been so used to being on Destructoid where everyone knew me, and then I went to this new place and it was like, holy shit, they think I suck. And I worked hard to make it good. Whereas Machinima's audience, I don't give a halfpenny fuck about any of them. Because I
some
know
of them really like some of them really got it. They have a very diverse audience sometimes.
It was a real 50-50 split.
It was. Yeah, it was.
You know,
nice
I mean, I think that for the most part, the people who use YouTube are the worst people in the world.
Yeah.
And it's okay that I say that because they don't know what the fuck a podcast is. I mean, I've had YouTubers be like, hey, check out this podcast I did. I'm like, that's not a podcast. That's a Let's Play. You're playing Battlefield 3 and talking about stuff over it. Like, that's not you're not podcasting. You don't know what that is.
Put that on your pod.
Yeah.
No, of course not. And of course, we all use YouTube, so we don't want to say all YouTube users are bad.
No, they're all.
No, I'm a bad person.
The thing is, like,
I'm a fucker.
Here's what happens:
I
anyone
sexually harass women on YouTube.
The second anybody sets up a YouTube account, they set up a YouTube account, put in their email, put in their details, set up a channel. They then go upstairs where their mother is waiting for them in a negligee, and they fuck her up the ass.
You know what?
Everyone with the YouTube
I'm going to say something crazy here. Jim, you know what? You're giving them too much credit. I don't think even their moms want to fuck them. I don't think that's happening.
Whoa.
Hey, I never said the mothers were alive.
I think they probably draw crudely. They draw crude pictures on lined paper of their mothers with colored pencils, and they upload to DeviantArt, and then they fuck their own asses while they are looking at these pictures.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Are we talking about YouTube
terrible.
still? I don't even know what we're doing.
I don't know what
We're talking about YouTube. I think a lot of people who use YouTube as their primary online community are sometimes kind of bad. Yes, that's as far as I'm going to go.
People who are like,
with that.
hey, the whole like things that happen on YouTube that just don't go anywhere else because people don't know how to leave YouTube. Where they're like, okay, for instance, one of the most popular people on YouTube is Ray William Johnson. And then there's iJustine. Like these are people who are like video casters, vloggers, you know. And they're
Ray
popular.
William Johnson?
Yeah, he's a fucking asshole. He's a pile
never
of
heard of
shit.
him.
He's a shit sandwich.
Whoa!
He's a fucking
Wow.
two turds with shit between them. I don't.
And who's iJustine? Is that like
She's a
Justine
girl.
Bateman?
She's really pretty, and she was one of the first
Okay.
girls to make a YouTube channel and actually like monetize it and like build a following. Like there was a time when
She
YouTube
just talk
didn't.
about
I don't
things,
think it had
or-
subscriptions. She just vlogs. She does some gaming stuff, but she doesn't really know what the hell she's doing.
Oh.
And there are two kinds of people on YouTube. There are the people who are like, "Oh my god, I love her. I love her videos. I'm gonna watch all of them. I'm gonna make my friends watch them too, even though my friends don't like to watch them." There are those people, and then there are the people who are like, "This bitch is wrong. I'm gonna tell her she's wrong, and I'm gonna tell her repeatedly." And they don't realize that because they're watching something they don't like, they're actually helping that thing exist.
Yeah.
That's YouTube. People
yeah.
who are like thumbs up if Skyrim, and it's like, you know what happens if you got 1 million thumbs up on that comment? You know what that would mean? Nothing at all, ever.
Yeah, it is kind of a place where I think people feel like anyone can become famous, so it's got a certain allure, certain reality show allure, where you think, oh, it's just being myself, I might become the next superstar.
Well, actually,
but
it
there's
amazes
so many
me.
people thinking that.
With some people it works, and I don't know why. Like, some people will just get a webcam, talk like with a big close-up of their hideous face, and just talk random shit that isn't funny, that has no meaning or relevance to anyone ever, and they've got like 1 million views, and I don't know why. I mean,
It's these people who it's the same thing. That's if you go to the trending topics on Twitter, and this is like the internet that I don't think we really pay attention to because we like know how to write and read words and do other things on the internet. But it's like you see this weird sort of like it's like the NASCAR of the internet. There's a whole lot of fucking people who are really into it, but you're like, where are these people? Why do they have money to spend on these things? What do they do when they're not doing these things?
It does surprise me when I see people who are ridiculously famous on the internet. I've never heard of them. And then I look at their video and I see why I've never heard of them. But I don't know why I should ever have heard of them. I don't get it.
Well, there's a certain... There's something about certain people that make their videos shareable, where you think, oh, my friend is going to really think something about me or laugh or feel something I want them to feel because they're going to get this. I don't know why. There's certain people have an appeal that...
Like Wolf Show on YouTube, who is as funny as fuck and does brilliant stuff and gets a fraction of the views that some idiot who put up a fucking webcam and just went, yo, a PS3. And they got 1 million views. And fucking...
To be fair, that guy with the PS3 is fucking brilliant. That guy is incredible.
I like how he's got
There's a real guy?
Do you remember the guy when the PSN was down and he was just this guy who had his shirt off and he just had his PS3 and he was like holding it up to like illustrate his point?
Oh, I remember
and
that
was
one,
like,
yeah.
Yo, the fucking PSN is down. The PSN isn't working. I can't play my Battlefield 3. I need to play my Battlefield 3. And it's just like,
why was that a video? What?
I don't know. We live in the worst time.
People related with him,
ever.
I guess.
You know what's sad to realize?
Yeah?
Like,
wow.
What makes me depressed is when I play Mass Effect and I'm like, these people have space travel. They have like incredible technology. It's all amazing. And then I stop playing Mass Effect and I find out that Newt Gingrich proposed a moon base for America by the year 2020. And I'm like, that's a bad idea. And we're probably never going to have Mass Effect. Like,
we will.
Like,
if we.
I'm like, no.
I don't know. If we ever do get Mass Effect, I think the bit where humanity is regarded as like the universal retard by the rest of the other aliens, that bit's definitely feasible.
Yeah, we're never going to get that far though. I was actually thinking about how crazy it would be if what if the 1% actually went and moved into space?
Yeah.
Like, what if all the rich people were like, oh God, there's too many poor people on this planet. They're all mad at us. Let's move into outer space.
I'd love that.
And I was like, yeah, if like Newt Gingrich went into space and lived there, like I'd be okay with that. But what would happen here? Like, what would what exactly would change if all the rich people left, and it was just like
Everyone else would
average-ass
have more money.
You know, we'd have the Morlocks and the Eloi. We'd have like a bunch of like dainty, like petal white, delicate people who don't know how the fuck to do anything, who live in space. They live on the moon, and they'd be like flower folk. Not really flower folk. They'd be like probably very, very fat. They'd look like marshmallows or like Chinese dumplings, and they just float around in space, and they'd be very, very. I mean, they'd be like the people in Wall-E, and they'd just be just floating around in space, and then you'd go down to Earth, and everyone on Earth would look like Jackal Man from the Thundercats. We'd just all be like fucking crazy viper people.
And I bet that the people in space would listen to our music and watch our reality shows and stuff like that. They'd think we were really interesting and fun, but they wouldn't actually want to hang out with us. That's my guess.
Yeah, like how
We'll see.
how people watch shit on YouTube that they hate.
Yeah.
Right. Or, buy the new album by so-and-so that they would never actually spend any time with in real life, but they'll listen to them talk about their real-life problems. And
What I like
reality shows.
is that there are people out there who... A lot of people hate Nickelback. People are really big on hating Nickelback these days. They really don't like Nickelback. And as opposed to making an effort to find people who dislike Nickelback and, like, maybe trying to either figure out why those people do like Nickelback or trying to explain to them why they don't like Nickelback, they instead are like, Nickelback is fucking evil. And I'm like, no, man. That's
I
like
don't know much about Nickelback.
they're just stupid. They're like they sing kind of rapey songs. Like that's about it.
Yeah. It's just
good.
It's just a Narnia lion with a guitar. That's okay.
Yeah, are they?
just-
I wanna push you around.
No,
Are
that's
those
Rob
guys?
Thomas. That's Rob Thomas
Oh,
from Matchbox 20.
All right.
No,
right.
Nickelback
Are they,
does this. We've been over this.
yeah?
Nickelback. The lead singer looks
I
like
can't remember.
he looks like that really the guy who played the crazy hitchhiker in There's Something About Mary, the really awkward comedian. You know what I'm talking about? He's got like a weird neck.
Yeah, I know the guy.
He looks like a cross
he's,
between him and Nicolas Cage with blonde tips.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's wearing like really expensive jeans.
He
and,
also
like, apparently does a lot of sit-ups or something.
I've often thought he wouldn't look out of place in Jim Henson's Labyrinth.
Not at all.
He looks possibly the guards at the doors. The one tells the truth and one always lies. He's got the face of one of those. But he looks like a drawing of a cartoon lion.
He looks like a cross between. He looks like a cross between. What is it? Beaker from the Muppets, and an Abercrombie model.
Yeah, he looks like a cross.
Doesn't make any sense. Those are two polar opposites.
He looks like a cross between Liquid Snake and a Care Bear.
No, I'd say like Liquid Snake and like a raw chicken.
There's no way he does. And a raw chicken, just uncooked.
He looks like a popple in a Van Halen wig.
What do they sing? Do they sing the that one about yeah or something?
Yeah, he's one of those. He's one of the yeah bands.
They sing. It's called butt rock, guys. Come on, butt rock.
I've heard of butt rock, but I can't think of a butt rock tune. By
Basically,
Nickelback.
think of every theme tune a wrestler has in the WWE, and that is all of Nickelback's music.
Yeah, they have this song I listen to called SEX, and the song is basically saying, "Hey, remember that whole no means no thing? Yeah, well maybe it doesn't mean no." I'm not even kidding. Like it's a pretty rapey song.
Nickelback.
Sounds yucky. Sounds yucky.
They're bad people.
But
they're bad people to the core.
But you don't think they're all bad, Max? Was your point, right? They're just like,
well, I don't think they're just kind of doing their thing. Like, I mean,
they're not raping. They're singing about it. It's okay.
I just think that I wish people were better at ignoring stuff and making it, or like trying to make it go away. You know, like people just like to get mad about stuff, and I don't know.
Well,
I've got no big issue with. No. Oh, sorry. No, let's bring it back to Mega Man. I don't want to talk about.
I wanted to bring it back to Mega Man. I wanted to do a full circle thing. Right. We're talking about people who are mad about Nickelback, who's just doing their thing. People who are mad about Mega Man being in Street Fighter Cross Tekken the way they are, try to look at it this way. Be happy that Mega Man's in the game at all, and he is, a real Mega Man character who's never been in a game before, so you're getting something totally
And
new.
don't forget to thank me for sorting it out, which I did.
Yep. Jim sorted it out. If you want to play classic Mega Man in your fighting game, go play Marvel vs. Capcom 2. If you want Mega Man Legends Mega Man in your Mega Man game, go play Tatsunoko vs. Capcom. If you want Zero, you got Marvel vs. Capcom 3. If you want Mega Man EXE, he was in that Onimusha Warriors, I think, fighting game. You guys probably knew that, right?
I didn't know it was in that one.
Yeah, Onimusha Warlords, I think?
I think it was called that. It's the only one I never played. It was a weird Super Smash Brothers set in Onimusha.
Yeah, I bought it for real cheap, like $6. It was worth it. And if you want Zero, you can play SNK versus Capcom. He's in that. You've already got all the Mega Mans you could possibly want. Let Capcom represent where they're at now, which is a spirited, yet out of shape, tired video game company still trying to remain relevant with this perfect metaphor for where they're at in their careers right now, which is bad box art Mega Man. And that's my final word.
Really, what would be more accurate is if they had that Mega Man, and then a slightly different Mega Man, and then that Mega Man but really little, and then and then that other Mega Man, except he had 2 extra fingers, and they were all in the game together.
Yeah, they need to do like a Hall of Mirrors Mega Man. Just a whole bunch of ones that are slightly too wrong.
I would not be surprised if that ends up being a joke in there.
Uncanny Mega Man.
Why would they want you've seen the art style of Street Fighter Cross Tekken, right? Where everyone's got big noses and big muscles, and why would they want the Mega Man that they know and love to be deformed to fit into that?
Oh, they would complain about that.
Who knows?
Yeah,
they would be fucking furious.
You know what, guys? Listen, we live in a universe where people masturbate to pictures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's true.
Nothing will ever be right again.
That is disgusting, because everyone knows you should only do it over Rouge the Bat.
Yeah,
I knew that was coming. It was still funny. It's always
guys. I feel like we're fighting a losing war here. I feel like we're fighting a losing war.
Against people who masturbate to pictures of cartoon characters?
Against mostly Nickelback and DeviantArt, and also Ray William Johnson.
Who is this Ray William Johnson? What does he have to say?
He's like fucking hobo fingers in your butt while you're asleep. He's fucking the worst, man.
Wow, that is the worst. Why? What does he have to
there
say?
And it's all like grizzled hobo fingers with like harmonica stains on them and hangnails, and they're just sticking in your butt. Okay, I should go.
What? You're leaving?
I gotta go.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
That's too bad.
I can only do an hour. I gotta go and help clean things out of my old apartment.
Oh, you're moving?
Yes.
Are you moved? You already moved,
Almost.
Or you are? Oh, good for you. Bigger, smaller, nicer,
bigger,
worse,
big and
better,
big hard, big
hard,
old floppy, big old floppy apartment, big wet apartment.
Are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you doing a part for sexual parts on a lady?
I don't know what I'm doing. I gotta go though. But you guys, be good. Holmes, don't listen to anything that Jim says, okay?
I'll try. It's hard. He is hard to ignore. I like to listen.
I'm gonna be fine. I promised a nice, clean podcast.
Fined. You're gonna be fined for all the things you say.
Hey, I've been well behaved this week, and almost. And don't worry, once you're gone, I'll be taking good care of Jonathan. He's in good hands this week.
Okay. Well, take care of him.
Thanks.
No worries.
Make sure he takes his little medicine biscuits that we give to him. I'll talk to you guys later.
Basket.
Later.
Biscuit basket. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Right, Jonathan Holmes, I'm going to fuck you so hard in the arse, you have no idea. I'm going to get my massive fucking cock, right? Okay, it's fucking huge, don't you worry about it, right? It's like a full-length child, right? In like, height and width. And it's going to go up ya, and it's going to, like, fill you up and make you fat, and then it's going to spunk, and it will come out of your mouth.
Oh, Yeah, people like that idea of having an orgasm, Jim, that's so powerful that it shoots up like their entire digestive tract from backwards and goes out their mouth.
Yeah,
Isn't that a
no,
weird idea?
that's going to happen to you. It's going to clean out your
Oh,
intestines.
gross! It's gonna be all salty, and
I'm
then
going to irrigate you with my sperm. What do you
that's
think
so
about that,
sad.
Jonathan?
That's depressing.
What do you
I
think
hope
about
that
that?
doesn't happen.
Huh? Huh?
I don't.
Huh?
I don't. I don't like it. I don't want that to happen.
I love this because it's like Max is here and it's kind of sensible
Well, you gotta tell the thing.
discussion, you know,
Sure.
with light-hearted fun, and then it kind of he leaves, and then it becomes like the after dark Podtoid, like
Which is weird because
sports
Max is
chat.
no stranger to hedonism or inappropriate comments, but he does kind of want to keep it clean in a way lately.
It's
I
true. Well,
noticed.
I mean, he's not in love with you. That's the thing. And I am like clearly in
That is the thing.
romantic love with you, and that's why like I wait for him to go, and then it's like oh, forbidden love, sort of secret trysts in on Podtoid. You see,
I do see.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's a real problem I've got, and here I am doing it.
How on at a
Yeah.
guess, how many inches away from your crotch do you think your testicles descend? Because I've never seen your genitals. That's the thing, and
No,
I'm
no.
trying to. I want to imagine them better than I already do.
I have no idea. I don't see my genitals very often either. I've got my mind on other
Same.
things for the most part.
But that's something.
So some days I don't even
That,
see my face for a while. Yeah.
well, I'm going to add that to my E3 checklist then. Measure
What?
Jonathan Holmes's scro. So that.
I was thinking about how much people know that we all have penises, Jim, but they never. They don't know. They know, but they don't know because they don't know for sure. They never. They just assume, and they make all these assumptions on us
Yeah.
based on that they think there's a penis in there. Probably penis. Yeah.
We'll have to prove it to them.
Well, we live in a society where they frown upon that. It's quite threatening to make thine penis shown to the people on the streets. La-da-dee-da-day. They don't want to see it. They don't want to see that penis, Jim.
Not on the streets,
No.
but PAX Prime this year, maybe. Just
Are you going to PAX East? I can't remember. You going
No.
to PAX East?
no.
No. It's coming up, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't do PAX East.
Yeah, I could see that.
I kind of just sort of limit my travel because of responsibilities and not liking to travel too much. So I kind of just do E3 and PAX Prime these days.
Mm-hmm.
Used to do a lot of sort
That
of
makes
indie
sense.
stuff.
It's a little bit like a friend having the same party with the same people in the beginning of the month and the end of the month. You're kind of like, just one will be fine.
Yeah,
You don't want to overdo it with exit, I don't think.
Yeah, the only other trip I'm planning is one that's it's relatively nearby for a game that may or may not involve big-headed creatures.
What?
I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Aliens Colonel Marines or what's that one for the Wii U? You're not going to play a Wii U game, are you? The Hideous Alien Freaks or something it's called? No?
That one looks really interesting. I forgot about that one.
I think it looks good.
Freaks. I'd heard that it wasn't very good, but
Yeah.
it looked fun. It looked imaginative.
And that was a year ago. Yeah, they could have fixed it up by then.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask this while Max was here, but because Max is like out of all the people I know in the industry, he is probably the one who still has the most like Pavlovian aversion to the word "we." Like he hears "we" and he's just like, "Oh, get it away from me." And I think a lot of people in the industry had that going for a while, but most of us have kind of moved through it and realized that the Wii, like any video game console, has its pros and cons. But to
be fair, he only just started playing Metal Gear Solid 4, so give him some
little
years.
Different. Sure. He's on a slightly different path than a lot of us. But anyway, they were talking about the Wii U having a name change, and I think that would be brilliant because though the people in the industry have gotten over our aversion to the word Wii, I think that A lot of people who own the PS3 and the 360, as soon as they hear the word Wii, they're completely out. They want nothing to do with it. It's like a source of real pain for them to think about the Wii. They associate it. It's like post-traumatic stress almost. And then you've got other people who think, oh, I already have a Wii, if they're not up on actually what video games actually are. And they're not going to buy it because they're going to assume it's just a duplication of something they already have. So I really think they should call it something other than the Wii U. Well, what do you think, Jim?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with a code name is people get so used to calling it by the code name, it's then hard to suddenly switch the ball on them and lose all, like, the Google hits you the crowd and like the general public awareness. I mean, there's a reason why they tried to just call Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. They wanted to just call it Modern Warfare 2, but they ended up adding the Call of Duty because the brand awareness is there. I wouldn't be surprised if Vox Games kept Vox Games, even though they've said that's a temporary name. I wouldn't be surprised if they kept it, because everyone's calling it Vox Games now. It is Vox Games to everyone. That's the problem with the Wii U, is it's the Wii U. You know? Everyone knows it as that. Really all the Google sort of searches point that way. I wouldn't be averse to them changing it just because, you know, I mean, if they can come up with a name that sounds cooler than the Wii U, I'm all for it. I did laugh when they first said Wii U at E3, but I don't think it's, like, hideous. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
And like the Wii, it's kind of, I'm used to it now, you know?
Sure. I'm not, but that's you who have said in the past you don't hate the name Wii just because it's the name Wii. You thought it sounded dumb at first, and even when you say it too many times, like I just did, it sounds stupider the more you say it. But you found some games on there you like, and you don't have this kind of Pavlovian, and by that I mean, like, a lot of people have been trained to hate the Wii because they've been let down by third-party developers so many times on it. They've looked at the Wii shelf at GameStop, and just seen nothing but shovelware so many times that they just have it kind of ingrained in them, Wii equals shit. And it's very hard to deprogram somebody from that when it's been drilled in their head for years now. There's a lot of people that also kind of have that as their belief system, and they don't want to let go of the idea that, you know, it's a very simple world where PlayStation and Sony make good consoles and Nintendo makes bad consoles. It's a kind of a source of comfort for them to think of it that simply. So calling it the Wii U, I think, is really going to make it much harder for them to ever get sold on it. I read a blog almost every day where people are saying, the Wii U's not out and no games have been announced for it, but here's why I'll never want it and it's going to fail. Because it just already is making them annoyed. And Max, it was last year, I think, he was on a real tear of hate about the Wii U, even though when I actually talked to him a little about it a little deeper, he couldn't think of anything he actually didn't like about it. It's just the idea of it was pissing him off.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say what I've always said. The Wii U is going to have Aliens, Colonial Marines, and have the little bleepy bloopy radar on the screen and on the controller. That's awesome. and that alone sort of makes me interested, but I think it is rather telling that when they first announced the Wii U, I mean, I was there at the press conference when they did it, and the only thing I got excited about with the Wii U was the fact that they showed, in their montage of games, they showed some extra Colonial Marines and Darksiders 2 footage, which I think is telling. It's just, I mean, I'm a software guy, you know? I don't discriminate between systems unless the system does something like inherently annoying. I've got no real preference for any company. It's just show me where the games are and I'll go. I don't really care about having a screen on the controller. I just care what are you going to do with that software-wise. Show me the games and I'll show you my interest. Until that happens, I will continue to have only a what should I say, professional interest in the Wii U as
Sure.
something I know I'm going to be dealing with in my job, and I'll make some sort of guesses as to how I think it'll do. I've sort of expressed my concern that maybe this is not a good sort of idea for them to launch it so close to the end of the generation, and all the usual fears and concerns.
Sure.
But I've got no emotional stake in the Wii U yet. Show me what the games
Right.
are. Show me the fucking Kirby. It's the
I'm sure that'll
general
happen.
message here. Show me the fucking Kirby.
Kirby's on a roll. I don't know if you heard that the Kirby game you gave a perfect score to actually sold over 1 million units already
Good stuff.
worldwide, which is not always the case with Kirby. It's
He's
it's
always
case by
been
case basis.
yeah, he's kind of their low carder kind of guy. He's their dependable.
1 million units though. I don't know. I think it's pretty good.
No,
Maybe
I
it's
mean
just
for
me.
for a system that's had not been in the public eye very much this year, with a character and a franchise that isn't the most popular of Nintendo's stock. That's a significant success. That's awesome. And obviously, speaking as a
And it was
happy as shit.
and didn't Epic Yarn just come out in 2009? I was surprised they stacked their games so close together. I'd figure a lot of people would say, "Oh, I just bought Epic Yarn last year. I'm not going to buy another one." But apparently,
Yeah.
1 million people did.
Not to mention they had Mass Attack on the DS as well that year.
Yeah, they've really saturated the Kirby market lately for whatever reason. And there was years where there was a Kirby drought, a serious Kirby drought. Why am I talking about Kirby so much? I think it's so important. Fun.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm with you, Jim. With the Wii U, I don't feel much until they announce some sort of games, and at the same token, I don't see why people are hating it already because they haven't announced bad games. They just haven't announced really any games. Yeah, so there's not really any reason to feel much about it as of yet, other than from an intellectual kind of analyst standpoint, like you were guessing how it would do or not do. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's it.
I was going to talk about Kingdoms of Amalur, but you don't give a fuck.
No, of course I do. No, talk about it.
I played it.
Talk about it.
I put about 20 hours into it now.
What happens in it?
You're a guy who died, and then you're alive again after dying.
Whoa. Is it mythological? Like he's got some sort of supernatural powers?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What is he, a zombie?
No, it's just a guy.
Werewolf?
It's a magic guy.
People talk to me. Controls the sea?
This is the best review I've ever done. I might do this in the written review. You're a guy, he does a thing, and then you win the game.
That's how it looks. I saw a little bit of it, and Conrad talked about it for a little while with Tara Long. I watched that episode of Office Chat, and they're just like, yeah, you level up, you explore the land, you engage in combat. There's different, different trees, different ability trees. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ.
This is actually, they could have called this game everything Jonathan Holmes hates in a video game, the video game. Because it gets to the real core of that. Like everything you've ever said about how, Western RPGs are power fantasies and, you just sort of level up and get better for no real end. That is Amalur, like through and through, and there's a real purity to it. It doesn't waste any time. The second you start playing, it's like, right, your goal is to get bigger swords and make explosions happen, and that'll do. Go out and do it. The game really it doesn't waste your time in that regard. It is pure, to the point.
Well, that's neat. I'm happy that they, there's a time and place for everything. I just find that the place for just a power fantasy in my life is less and less the older and more powerful I get in real life, the less I care about pretending to be powerful. But Monster Hunter has a little bit of that. You want to go out and beat up a special dinosaur so you can use his hide to make a big hammer with his head on it and stuff like that. I don't totally hate that. It's just got to be done in a way where I really want to be in the world where it's happening. Like Monster Hunter is very relaxing. It's pretty. The music is really good. The dinosaurs are believable and fun to be around. Even if you're not fighting them, it's just fun to watch them behave. They've got good AI and stuff like that. So I can like a game where you beat up stuff and just grind, but I have to want to be there, I guess. And what I want to be in this Amalur? What's Amalur got for me to want to be there?
It's pretty.
Okay.
And it's full of Irish accents.
I like those a lot.
Yeah, that's the one thing with Amalur. That's when I say it's like pure, no time wasty power fantasy. They waste no time creating a world that sort of has its own unique, sort of endearing spark, and there's a weird sterility to it. But it is also, that sterility carries with it a kind of purity where it's, okay, I know what I want to do. I know what I've got to do. I'm just going to do it and have fun doing it. And so, yeah, it appeals to a certain type of gamer, just these guys that love acquisition of power gameplay. And I do, I like that kind of thing.
Sure.
It does, I do like a good story as well, though, and this is sort of, it's light on the story, and the story. The story. Every quest has its own, fully voiced story and everything, but they're not really anything that just grab me by the balls as anything too special. But I'm still enjoying it. It's you bring up Monster Hunter. I actually thought about Monster Hunter a couple of times with it, because you can get like certain weapons that are really huge, and they've got these really lengthy, meaty swings to them, and the combat does remind me of Monster Hunter in a lot of ways, which is both good and bad, because Monster Hunter's combat infuriates the fuck out of me. I'm trying to swing my sword, and then the dinosaurs hit me 2 times before I've even managed to finish swinging the thing. But they make
Monster
it less
Hunter definitely
in Amalur.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying,
it's not as Monster Hunter.
It's the combat makes me think of Monster Hunter a lot, but it is not quite that infuriating, because I love Monster Hunter in theory. I've tried to play it several times, like I've tried several games in the series, but I just can't get into it because of that, because of just they went a bit too meaty with the combat for my liking, which means the main character takes forever to get an attack off, and the monsters are kind of, I'm sure there's a rhythm to it, but it's not a rhythm I've ever been able to get into and enjoy. Which I find really upsetting, because it's, in theory, my kind of game through and through.
Sure. Yeah, they make it a lot of work. They don't make you feel empowered in combat. They make you plan your move, 5 seconds in advance. You time exactly how far away that dinosaur or monster, I guess, is. You know how fast it runs. So if I press X now, right as he comes to me, the hammer will hit him right in the head. And people don't want to have to work that hard in their combat for the most part. They want it to come naturally and feel as though they are in full control without having to think that hard. It's almost like Virtual Fighter in that way. But I'm guessing, Jim, that they're going to make you very happy with Monster Hunter 4, because from what I've heard, Capcom, there's their imperative to make this game appealing to the West without sacrificing what Japan likes about it. They know they have Japan kind of on lock as long as they put in certain aspects that the Japanese fans are obsessed with. So from here on out, they're all about making Monster Hunter your kind of game. So maybe Monster Hunter 4 will do that. I hope so.
Yeah, I've always loved the idea of it ever since the first one. And I played the first one, but I just couldn't nail it down.
Yeah.
And maybe I've just been approaching it wrong, because I've got no problem with a game where you prepare and set things up and stuff. It's just I've got to be prepared for a game that will
It's like a fighting game in the way you have to think about it. Like, you've played Zangief, right? You know Zangief in Street Fighter? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a pain. You've got to, take some beatings and then do your 720 super move right at the right time, but not have it whiff. You don't want it to whiff, Jim, after the characters did their poke. You don't want to whiff after a poke. You don't want to have to think about all that, do you? it's not like preparing a plan. It's like your combat itself involves a lot of not following your instincts and having to go about things in an unnatural way because that's how your characters work in that game.
Everything
don't
you
want
said in that description of Zangief made me want to throw up.
About the poke and the whiff?
Yeah, I don't understand any of that, and it confuses me, and thus makes me feel physically sick.
I'm sorry to hear that. That's the thing about me. I know a little bit about fighting games. I understand the terminology for the most part, but I have no urge to be the best like no one ever was.
You know just enough to get yourself in trouble with people who know more from what I've seen.
Yeah, they read... Actually, my King of Fighters 13 review, I didn't actually read any of the comments because I was too scared, but when I asked other people to read them, they said, oh no, everyone said it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, I was setting up that at the end of the year, the most controversial reviews on Destructoid. And I know you put that one and the Street Fighter one, the Street Fighter 3 one through for appraisal, and I checked out the comments. They weren't that bad.
That's good. That's good.
You're okay.
Yeah. There's
You're
some
doing well.
I'll keep doing it then, those fighting game reviews, when I have the chance. I kind of want to review the Street Fighter X Tekken for the Vita, assuming I can get a Vita. They don't sell out. Which they won't, will they? No, poor Vita. I'm already thinking no one's gonna buy that thing. Vita.
I don't know. I wouldn't... I mean, I know it's had a kind of slow start in Japan, but... I mean, the 3DS didn't have the quickest of starts and it picked up. I mean, I know that's not any proof or anything, but it's, there's every chance. The game's not over yet. And I certainly hope the Vita does well. I like the look of it. I love that Sony's got a good attitude with it this time. They've said things addressing problems I've had with the PSP. They've said things that speak to... That's no guarantee they'll actually make good on anything they've said, but they have said it, and recognition is, the first step on the road to recovery. And they've said, we wanted a good launch lineup, which I think they've got. They said we're going to make firmware less painful, which I'm yet to see, but fingers crossed. So we'll see.
Sure.
I just wish Sony would let me know whether I'm getting one or not, so I could know whether I'm going to go and pre-order the thing or not. I've got no problem with buying stuff to do my job, but it's the not knowing. So Sony, let me know, please. They're not listening to this. I'd like to have one early so I can cover it for the review stuff. People always think I'm complaining about not getting free stuff for the free stuff. But no, I want it to do my job. It's unpleasant to have other outlets reviewing a game that you don't have yet. It's a professional sort of sting, really. So on that
Speaking
note,
of that, did you get
any revelations?
I was just going to ask you about that. They haven't sent that to you yet? Aww.
They
That's dumb.
if it's not on my doorstep when we finish recording this, I was told tomorrow. So when's that game out? 7th?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I can go through that then. I should have the review up before or by launch. That's the main thing.
Yeah, and if you need, it's out in Europe already, I think, so you can play European people in the Riot mode if you want to test that out. That Riot mode. I know Toby wants to play with you. Riot mode.
Then we'll sort that out. Riot mode.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Do you want to talk about discrimination and dictimization?
Yes, let's. As everyone knows, we do the man-baby thread of the week, where we go on the men going their own way forums and discuss what the men's rights activists are saying about women, because they hate them and they're very bitter because of various perceived betrayals that they've had. But before we talk about the thread, which I know the one that we're going to use this week, we got an email shortly after the last Podtoid went out about about the previous Podtoid. So we got an email about Podtoid 185, where we first talked about the men going their own way forum. And this is by a guy, I won't say his full name, but he's calls himself Greg. And he wasn't too happy.
It was weird, though, wasn't it? Because on one end, he was angry at us and called us a lot of names. On the other end, he was like, "Come on, guys, look at it my way. Other people respect me. Why don't you respect me too?" Like asking for our respect and citing references of other people who share his perspective, really trying to convince us that he had the stuff. But at the same time, he didn't he start off by calling us assholes or something? What?
Yeah, well, I mean, the title of the email is Podtoid 185, You Guys Are Idiots.
That's not a good way
Yeah.
to try to warm us up to his way of thinking.
And he was trying to, I don't know what he was trying to defend, because we were specifically having a go at men's rights activists. And yet he defended them while not defending them. It was strange. I'll just read it out because I want to see what you think about what Greg thought about us. So, Podtoid 185, you guys are idiots. This is a response to episode 185 of Podtoid. First of all, you guys have to go to a forum filled with trolls and crybabies to make a straw man attack against those who point out the evils of feminism. Yes, men's rights activists are idiots, but only because they've embraced the exact same sexist mentality that the feminists have, which is that we are divided into classes, and being a part of one class or the other makes us victims of some sort of generalized crime that is being male, female, black, white, etc., etc., etc. And I'm particularly disgusted with Max Scoville. Did I spell that right? I don't fucking care. Why
is he so mad at us?
Who is presented as some sort of doctor and then engages in a psychological analysis of these men, also known as an ad hominem, instead of critically considering that there is a problem with groups who try to offset the balance of justice.
So he likes that we criticize them, but we didn't criticize them in the way we should have criticized them. Is that right? Am I getting that right?
I think so far the message is the men's rights activists are idiots, therefore we should leave them alone because it's not fair.
It's not that we didn't call them the right kind of idiot.
It's that we obscured the fact that feminism is actually evil.
Did we talk about feminism at all in that episode?
I don't think so.
No, I've never brought up
Yeah, but Greg continues, after confusing you and Max, he continues with, yes, there are going to be a lot of very misogynistic men on the side that opposes feminism. Hey, sure. I can find just as many, if not more, hateful comments toward men coming from the feminist side. Yes, the example you presented of a guy won't play a game because he is forced to play as a woman is ridiculous. I accept that. Speak of it.
What? Did we not accept that? Did we talk about...
He's saying that we were right to say it was ridiculous.
So he's now telling us that
these men are ridiculous.
Smart.
Okay, but he doesn't want us to point that out. Because according to him, and again Greg goes on to say, the feminists are no better though. Last year, the most pressing feminist issue was that some woman in a brightly lit hotel had an awkward moment because a man made her feel uncomfortable in an elevator because he hit on her. Oh noes! He's completely misrepresented.
What is he talking? Why is he talking about that? I wasn't. Were you talking about that?
He's saying that's the worst thing that ever happened in feminism that year. Like that was the most important issue. Was that issue where the woman had said, guys, if you're alone in an elevator with a woman, try to respect that they might be a bit, worried about strange men in elevators, which I thought was perfectly reasonable. But according to Greg, it's not reasonable to say that. And apparently being concerned that a man might rape a woman, as has happened all the time, is exactly the same as a man who felt upset that he had to play as a woman in Gears of War 3.
It's worse. The woman is worse, he's saying, I think.
Yeah, the
Right?
feminists are no better for this. They're no better for being worried about being raped by men. Uh,
Seems pretty different. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it seems different to me, but Greg seems to think they're either exactly the same or the women are worse. He went on to say, men absolutely have a lot of privilege, but you guys, that's us, seem to be very unaware of the privileges that women have. And they're so pervasive that you don't even notice them. For example,
What?
for example, on your very own show, you automatically assume that any man who is a divorcee and complains about alimony payments must not have been a good husband, and therefore it's his fault, with absolutely no proof.
When did we do that?
None of us said that. I did say at one point that if a man is getting divorced and the woman was able to get out a court order, restraining order on him, and legally keep him away from her, that kind of makes me wonder what the man might have done to have earned that. That's
sure.
what I said, but obviously that's because I only said that because women are so privileged in society, according to I've been brainwashed by the privileged women. What else does he say? Oh yeah, if you know anyone with a failing relationship, you will typically give advice differently. If it's a woman, yes, you definitely will. Greg knows you. Greg knows that if it's a woman, most people advise them that maybe the relationship isn't working. But if it's the man, then most people will simply tell him to try harder, man up, and be more considerate. Also,
Sorry,
the cavalcade of feminine injustice does not stop here.
Oh.
So, women are favoured in child custody, in spite of the fact that children brought up by single men tend to grow into more responsible adults.
What? I forgot about this. I read this at the time, but I couldn't take it all in. It's such a...
He said earlier about us saying things without evidence.
And putting genders into specific boxes where you judge all of them based on their gender. Yeah.
But no, I mean, children brought up by single men tend to grow into more responsible adults. That's a Greg fact you can take to the bank. And then he goes on, in regards to the alleged pay gap, men work longer hours and do more dangerous tasks than women, and on average they respect deadlines more than women. Also, men don't take as many days off as women.
I didn't tell you this, but I actually responded to Greg individually. I'll tell you more about that after you're done reading.
And you're going to say, but I can counter each of those complaints with examples of how women are mistreated. Yes,
Why would I?
Yes, you can. Well, you can. Greg says you can. But that doesn't negate the points I've made above.
Why would I want to negate your... Wow, what an interesting man.
All I'm asking you is it really that much of a stretch to think that at least half the time men and women who complain about inequality just might be full of bull? I am absolutely not vilifying women here. No, just...
He's really having an argument with himself, isn't he?
He really is, yeah. He's sort of invented us to argue with.
Right.
What I'm saying is that people should be treated as individuals, regardless of what gender they are. And they should also be equally accountable for the things they do and say. I'm sure he will appreciate that now that we're reading out his email about being held accountable. The feminists and MRAs are both notorious for not wanting to be accountable for anything. That's the problem for any sort of rights activist group, including both MRAs and feminists, because they think that being a group means that they're entitled to this, that, and the other thing. Every time I've brought up this objection to these groups, they immediately shout me down, because they feel that it's their right to feel like a victim, and that someone else needs to be held accountable. And being a victim is the biggest privilege of all, because you can convince a large number of people to feel sorry for you, because you're a member of a large group that is occasionally marginalised in one field or another. I don't take sides in this debate because both sides are dumb. Just like political parties, the same stink exists on both sides. And then he said he was holding our hands by giving us some videos to some women who have said things in favour of men, which proves his point. Just like a racist who says he likes Stevie Wonder isn't racist.
Wow.
So that was an interesting email.
Yeah.
I think he tried to second guess us. He thought
A lot.
he thought I'd go through all of his points individually and shoot them down. Instead,
I just want to say, I'm really flattered that he cares what we think at all. Why do you care what the people on the video game podcast small talk about? And you happen to hear? It's not like we prepared our political speeches on Podtoid and wanted to make sure that our agenda was. We were just chatting about.
Well, I think he was really looking forward to having like a big point-by-point argument. And maybe was even looking forward to having this read out and then having me defend my position and sort of going through points and saying, well, you say this, but I say this, and you say this. Instead, I'm going to go, Greg, you clueless cunt, get with it, you moron.
Whoa, that's mean. I wrote back to him, and I forgot to tell you I did that. I forgot I did it until right now, actually, and just said, "Wow, it's a really weird approach. On one end, you're attacking us. On the next end, you're trying to get us to listen to you. My advice to you," and I also pointed out how he contradicted himself a lot in terms of saying that we should treat men and women as individuals, but then saying all men do this and all women do that, which is clearly not treating men and women like individuals. And then said that I'm giving him a deadline. He needs to send me a picture of him eating a hamburger, and if he doesn't, he's either a woman or a liar. And he never sent me a picture of a hamburger. So
well, I mean,
Greg's either a woman or a liar.
His problem is he's tried to equate all of feminism with men's rights activists.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the thing is, men's rights activists are just like one small segment of men who are interested in equality issues.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
In fact, they're a lunatic fringe of morons and entitled children, which Greg seems to agree with. The trouble is he then puts them up against just the umbrella of feminism, of all feminism. Now, anybody who has even cast a glancing eye toward feminism knows that you can't just say the word feminism and have it mean everything to do with feminism.
Almost anything anymore. Feminists barely, it's been so watered down. All I take from it is it means, well, you think about gender in some way. Like you acknowledge it.
Yeah, I mean, my wife is a feminist, but she's very different from, say, some of the other feminists out there. There are different types. And there are some feminists. There is a minority of feminists who act like the men's rights activists, Like, all men are evil, all men are scumbags waiting to betray you. They're all going to rape you, they're all going to ruin your life. But they're only a small segment of what feminism is. And, I admit, back when I knew very little about it, because that small segment of feminism sort of has a really loud voice, I found it hard to separate the two, But now that I sort of know more about it, because I sort of took an interest in it, because I made some friends in certain circles, sort of more political circles and stuff, especially out in Mississippi, where this kind of stuff is, it's shit for people out here, It is. I mean, you've got a sort of very Christian-leaning, theocratic, patriarchal kind of, very men-centric situation out in Mississippi. So the friends I've made have tended to be very active in equality and all that kind of stuff. So I took a lot more of an interest in it the past year, and you sort of learn that there are so many different types of feminism out there. And one thing I was taught when a very learned and clever guy called Tom Head told me was if you ever were to get into sort of covering feminism and stuff, be prepared to be utterly despised by some feminists,
Yeah,
be prepared. Some of them are going to fucking hate you, always, no matter what you do. Some of them are going to like you, some of them are going to hate you, and that's the same with everything. And the men's rights activists are just a percentage of men, and the feminism is a percentage of women, and then the lunatic fringe is just a percentage of feminism. So what he's done is he's taken the entirety of feminism, which is just about, female-centric political issues and said it's one big thing. It would be like saying people, like everyone who champions for racial equality is a black person who hates white people. And you know how ridiculous that sounds,
Sure.
There are all sorts. There are white people who are, into racial equality and race politics, and black people who are perfectly fine with other races and just want some fucking fair treatment. So it's very weird that Greg sort of decided to lump all of feminism, as he said, the evils of feminism, all as one big thing.
I'm going to psychoanalyze Greg because he enjoys that real quick. It seems to me that Greg has a good head on his shoulders and has some capacity for reason and kind of a unemotionally charged perspective on things. But there's another side of Greg that peeks out occasionally, which is a hurt, wounded, angry man. And I don't know why he's angry, but it seems like he's pretty angry at anyone who thinks women should have some sort of treatment that they can request.
Yeah.
Treat me like this because I'm a woman. Seems to make him angry for some reason.
He seems to think that sometimes women are gonna get a raw deal and they have to suck it up. That seems to be his thing. Like he says, "Oh, of course, pay's not equal. Men do harder jobs." And I'm like,
I think he means I do harder jobs. Whenever Greg defends men, I'm assuming he's defending himself and saying, I don't know. Maybe he's had a hard time with women. Greg, don't get like that.
The equal pay thing is usually for equal jobs.
Sure.
How an actor can get a certain, like a male lead in a TV show gets a certain amount, and a female lead. I believe Gillian Anderson and Dave Duchovny, when they were both leading X-Files, Duchovny got a ridiculous amount more than Anderson.
I didn't know that.
And in a lot of office jobs, women will get paid less than men. And that's not harder, more strenuous work that only men can do. You're typing at a fucking computer. Women can do that just as easily as men. So I don't get why he's saying that the pay thing is negligible. Because, all men are rock-bashing Flintstones, and all women sit at home having babies, which seemed to be the logical conclusion he was drawing.
I'd love to know more about Greg. If he wants to email me, email me back. You never emailed me back, Greg, with a picture of you and the hamburger. Tell me all about yourself. Tell me why you're so upset sometimes. Why you want to email total strangers about your seemingly personal feelings about really big issues that there's no right or wrong answer to. It takes a while to write an email. You got to have the fire in you to write an email that length.
Well, he was clearly unhappy.
Yeah, and also wanting us to love him. Interesting. I did something similar to Greg. I wrote an email out into the world to total strangers telling them how I felt about something, and I was met with some harsh banning. I was already banned from the Men Going Their Own Way forums, Jim. I was already banned. Do you know that I was banned?
Yeah, now that was interesting, because and I don't know, because I decided I wasn't going to post on the Men Going Their Own Way forums because I didn't want to, it was so good, I didn't feel I had to add anything. But you decided you wanted to bring some flavour to the milkshake.
Well, I thought to myself, okay, I'm a man. What am I mad about? I got to find something, because I take the Men Going Their Own Way forums to be men who have feelings that are legitimate. Things have happened to them in their lives, and they have an emotional reaction based on those things. And you can't say an emotion isn't valid. So I give their emotions 100% approval. They're totally valid feelings. It's the thoughts that they come up with after having those emotions, It's like if you get slapped in the face by a guy, you can think, wow, that guy shouldn't slap me in the face. Or you can think, all guys and their hands are dick hands. I hate that stupid hand on that stupid guy, and everyone should get their hands cut off. That's how the Men Going Their Own Way forums seem to me. They've had a bad time, and they think they have the answer to solve their problems.
Well, yeah, they basically had a bad time with one, maybe two or even three women in their lives, and assumed that all women are that.
Right.
Which is a sadly human thing that more people need to not do, is assume that everyone of a certain type, like one person represents an entire race or gender or sexual sort of inclination.
people would be happier if they stopped. It's a very primitive way of trying to sort out your world, and it just doesn't work. But I thought, hey, it'll be fun. I'll try to join in on that and find the thing I'm upset about, and then make some kind of exaggeratedly powerful complaints and proclamations about what should happen around it. So I'm upset, Jim, that some people treat me like I'm yucky because I've got a dink. I've had a girlfriend say to me, listen, don't wear just a t-shirt. She was wearing a t-shirt and no pants and underwear. And I was like, that looks good. And then I tried doing it. And then she was like, don't do that. I'm like, why not? She's like, because it just makes me focus solely on your genitalia. I'm like, what's wrong with that? I thought you liked male genitalia. She's like, I like it, but I don't want to think about it that much. Just a little. I'm like, what? But I think about your genitalia all the time. I think it's great. She's like, yep, women genitalia, good. Men genitalia, kind of yucky, kind of gross. Then I found out that a lot of women feel this way. They are technically heterosexual and want to have sex with the male genitalia, but they rather not think about it. It's kind of like getting a booster shot, you know?
I don't know. I mean, I say this as someone who finds things attractive on both sort of sides of the gender fence.
Right.
Well, I mean, and the fence. Everything in between.
Sure,
But
whatever goes. Yeah.
An unerect penis dangling off the end of some dangly scrotes isn't attractive. It looks like an inside-out turkey. I am going to have to side with the ladies on this. And I do find a lady wearing just a t-shirt. It's a beautiful sight.
It is.
Nice.
It is.
It's a nice sight. It's like very alluring, but also sort of covered, and they don't have stuff just sort of like giblets just dangling out from underneath them. It's all tucked in and neat, and unless they're 60, and then looks like crangs just swinging underneath there. But with a man, like I can't imagine even the hottest men I know wearing just a t-shirt and me thinking that looks good.
Huh. It's interesting. It's also a little bit of an insult, I found. If women see your not erect penis, they're like, well, that's not very nice. Like, what do you mean? They're like, well, shouldn't your penis be erect right now? I'm in the room. I'm like, I'm sorry. I just, didn't think we were going to have sex. No, erect penis or no penis is how she rolls. Yeah, many women have been like that. So anyway, I took that emotion that I know is not rational for the very reasons you just described, just testicles. I think they're gross. I don't want to look at them. I don't expect anyone else to want to. But I thought, why not take my righteous indignation, that kind of immature side of me, and express it in a post on the forums, which I thought was, made some valid points that I almost mean in a way. I don't not mean them. I was just kind of making fun of myself a little bit, but they got pretty mad and banned me right away. However, the readers seemed to actually like it. All the comments about it were positive.
Yeah, I'm going to guess, because they seem to find when I linked to them on Twitter, they found me pretty quick. I'm gonna guess the admin obsessively checks the traffic on his site and saw a link back from like Twitter at Tron Nuts, and he was like, "Oh, I'm getting some clicks from here. I got 10 today. Ooh, that is a lot. That is a traffic spike for me." And then saw you tweeting like, "Oh, I'd love to get some backup on this," and probably put 2 and 2 together that you're sort of related to Destructoid and went straight for the ban, like knew that you were fucking. But it was a good, because you did get, like, as ridiculous as your post was, they agreed with it. You were talking about dick discrimination and everything, which is
Dictamized.
Dictamization, yeah.
Yeah, when you're treated like when you're made to feel like you've done something wrong for having a dick, then you're a victim of dictamization. Or victim is, yeah, I got that right. All right, thanks.
And yeah, they banned you.
They did. I can't post there anymore. And I assume that if I ever make it known that it's me who did that, who made a post, if I start a new account or whatever, I can't tweet about it, or else they'll figure it out and ban me just for being me.
Traffic forever.
Yeah, someone just commented on it. The way I deal with cock discrimination is that I refuse to participate in society, period. If society marginalizes me, I will return the favor. She's not mad about what I said. It'd be one thing if the everyone in the comments felt really insulted, or if I was making pointed attacks. I mean, can you imagine if we banned everybody on the Destructoid community blogs for saying something that we suspected maybe wasn't 100% respectful to Destructoid in general, but
We
nobody
would
minded
have
what
no
they said?
blogs left.
Yeah, I really feel as though these guys should, for their own sake, lighten up and only ban people if they do something that makes their site worse. I don't think I did that. Anyway, yeah, we talked about that for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can read the post if you want. It's still up. It's called Double Standard: Discrimination Against Cocks, written by Rex Raptor, who is my name on the Men Going Their Own Way forums. People have told me they thought it was funny, so thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. They wanted me to read aloud. I don't want to read aloud like you did. I don't know how you do that, Jim. You've got so much confidence. They did want me to read the last line. I'll read the last line.
Go for it.
It's time to stop letting our dicks be victimized, in brackets, dictimized, and discriminated against the man-fearing and therefore man-hating world at large. There's some of that, you know? They won't put an erect penis in a rated R movie, Jim.
Yeah.
Come on. That's discrimination.
That is true.
Put that penis in there. You're doing a new fertility issue of your magazine, and instead of getting Janet Jackson posing pregnant and beautiful, just put a giant erect penis in there.
I want to see more giant erect penises.
You do. You don't want to see the penis get marginalized to the back room, the back of the bus. It's time for the penis to sit in the front of the bus, Jim. With Janet Jackson, pregnant Janet Jackson.
I think we need a Rosa Parks of penises.
We do. It could be me if I keep this up. It'd be fun.
Can you imagine that? Jonathan Holmes, the Rosa Parks of penises. He wouldn't put his dick back in his pants on the bus. I'll tell you what, at E3, let's get on a bus in LA and just pull your penis out and just say, no, sir, I'm not going to put my erect cock and bollocks back in my pants. I'm making a stand for men's rights. Women can do it. Women can get their fannies out on the bus if they want. They can just... They can just slap their lobster pots out on the bus whenever they like. I'm on the bus and some woman just pulls down her jeans and takes me to Tuna Town. And I'm not allowed to get my tumescent shaft and helmet out and wave it in a child's face and say, what do you think of that? What do you think of that? Tell me it looks like Robert Redford.
The actor, not Robert Redford's penis.
It just looks like it's got the commanding presence of Robert Redford. Suck my dick and tell me it makes you think of the Redford.
Oh, to a child, you'd say that.
Yes.
Who's never
because
heard of
women are allowed to do that. Women are allowed to do it.
It's true. It's
they
equal
get
rights.
As many vaginas out as they want. And they make babies finger it on the bus. Like a woman,
They do.
A woman has like a pram with a baby, and she just grabs the baby's hand and just shoves it like up to its elbow inside her. And she can do that on the bus, and a man can't get his penis out and piss over the two of them.
He's pissing. Pissing should be okay too, you're thinking? Because women can do it?
You see, this is why I wouldn't be able to go on that forum. I get carried away, and I just say things that aren't believable.
I thought I was fairly believable, if not for the fact that I was clearly making fun of myself a little bit.
Oh no, you were believable. I was actually confused when you first linked to it, and I was like, did he write that, or was he just... Did he reply? Does he agree with it? It's weird. You didn't know
it was me.
No.
Yeah. Oh wow, that makes me feel good. Yeah, I tried to really be one of them. Just the right level of illogical indignation with some, point of truth. Maybe if you're totally generous towards the person who's being a little bit ridiculous. That's how I see those guys. Yeah. I'm pretty generous though with people. I give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they make sense and I just don't get it. Not those guys, though, I don't think. I think they just are. They're pretty lost souls. Now I'm getting depressed. We were laughing now I'm getting sad thinking about those guys for real. Should we do questions soon, Jim?
Yeah, let's do some questions.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Kiris asks, which is the more horrible fan base? Sonic fans or Mega Man fans?
Well, it's kind of been the theme of the show is taking the worst of any group, and they're almost always the vocal, be it the men's rights activists or the Mega Man fans or the fighting game community, the esports community. The worst of them are the loudest of them, and the loudest of every group. I think that should be a group. I think the loudest Mega Man fans and Sonic fans and men rights activist fans, they should be grouped together in just these people that take an issue that is not that big of a deal or is totally personal to them and turn it into a crusade against the entire planet, and their entire identity is wrapped around fighting their cause. Those are the people that yuck me out the most. You just got to live your own life and be decent to other people. You don't have to scream at strangers because they don't like Mega Man the same way you do. Oh, God.
And
Yeah,
to follow on what Jonathan Holmes said, Sonic fans are definitely the worst one. Definitely.
I'm kind of a Sonic
fan.
fan.
I'm a Sonic fan. I recognise that I'm scum.
Yeah.
I look at nudie pictures of Rouge the Bat, so that's terrible. And Mega Man fans are only annoying when they're angry. And I've been angry a lot recently. But Sonic fans are annoying whether they're angry or happy, because when they're angry, they're whining about Sonic's legs being too long. And when they're happy, they're drawing pictures of Sonic having sex with Tails, which is paedophilia, and writing horrible, horrible fan fiction.
Yeah. I like some Mega Man fan fiction. It's all right. So, yeah, I guess you're right. Sonic fans, at their worst, are worse. Mega Man fans are getting worse. Another thing I want to say about Mega Man fans real quick. Why is it that so many people, Jim Sterling, tell me the answer to this. Why did they get so mad at Capcom for canceling those Mega Man games and not Inafune, the guy who was heading up those games, and then just quit the company before they were finished? Like, if I was working on a case at my hospital for a patient, and they had a lot invested in the work I was doing. I was doing a lot of the social work stuff I won't get into, but I was doing a lot of social work for them that no one else could do. And then I just quit. They wouldn't get mad at the whole hospital. They'd get mad at me for dropping the ball and sucking hard instead of finishing my job before I leave. I haven't heard anyone get mad at Inafune. They blame it all on this kind of nebulous evil corporation.
On the man.
Yeah, why is that, Jim? Tell me why they're like that.
I will say corporations make it very difficult to ever take their side.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be very defensive of corporations. I used to be very sort of, you're using your computer to complain about corporations. Guess who made the computer? Dumbass!
Oh yeah. Well, I like that argument.
And while I recognise that, yes, they do make things, they're also a bunch of cunts. And to be successful in business, you kind of have to be a bunch of cunts. So, sure. I must admit, especially in the wake of OWS and really because let's face it, we know why the economy went down the shitter, and it wasn't because of poor people, Ever since I've become sort of more that sort of politically inclined, and I'll tell you straight, like, consider myself centrist, but I've been pushing more towards the sort of woolly liberal left-wing side of things. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't arguments from woolly liberal left-wing people that did that. It was arguments directly from right-wing, rich, white, old men. And I looked at their arguments and said, holy fucking shit, that's insane. I'm going to go the other way. So I will say that with that in mind, it is often hard to objectively place the blame on a creator when the people who own the content call so many shots and have rigged the game so well.
Sure.
So, that's why I think people default to it. And sometimes that's right. Sometimes often the publisher's a dick. And sometimes it can be wrong. Sometimes developers do fuck up. And,
sure.
It's up to us to sort of work out who went wrong where, you know? Like, Rebellion haven't made a good game in years, but do we know whether that's because they're not getting the budget and the funding and the time from publishers, or are they just a bad studio? You don't know. You don't know.
Sure.
And
It's hard to say.
yeah, so I think really it's, in terms of that, just take things on their own merits, you know?
Probably not get mad at anybody is how I'm trying to look at it, because I don't think anyone...
At least in terms of this, you know? When you
Yeah.
don't know the real truth of what happened, when there's an identifiable problem, like a developer made a bad design decision in a game, you know that's on them. And when a
Sure.
publisher makes a shitty business move, like online passes, then you know where to put the blame. So it's, you know, sometimes you can tell and you know who to blame, and if you can't, don't go one way or the other. Just, you know, we don't know why Mega Man was cancelled ultimately. We don't know if it's Inafune's fault or Capcom's fault.
Well, I think it's a good guess. It's kind of like a family vacation that got canceled because mom and dad got divorced. If mom and dad didn't get divorced, we probably still would have gone to Disneyland. However, that trip to Disneyland might have really sucked because dad and mom were wanting to kill each other the whole time. So it was a split. It was a breakup between Inafune and Capcom, and I'm guessing that those games would have survived if they hadn't split, but I wouldn't have wanted him to just toil away and be miserable and make a game that he didn't like and didn't want to do it for that company and then have the game turn out crappy and then everyone's sad. Sometimes it's best to get an abortion. Right, Jim?
I think it's always best to get an abortion. That's one of my favourite things.
That about you.
I love that. I've always said that. Like, you know, people are, oh, are you pro-choice or are you pro-life? Neither. I'm pro-abortion. I like abortions because I think they're funny. I will take that to the grave. I want abortions because I think they're hilarious.
Wow.
Seriously,
Wow.
you've got some little fucking freeloading little baby who's only going to grow up to be a dick because he's American, probably.
Wow.
Sitting there, just like, oh, this is brilliant. I've got this tube in my stomach and it's just giving me my mother's food. I don't have to do anything. Oh, what's this? What is this funny thing? It looks a bit like a vacuum cleaner. Oh dear, now my leg's off.
Whoa, that's quite
Tiny
an
little
image.
bastard. And then he comes out in bits and I've got dinner for the night.
So that's why you're pro-abortion.
I'm pro-abortion because it's... Yeah, I hate children, and I find the idea of them being vacuumed out in pieces amusing.
Wow. I have a feeling that is probably not going to end up being another YouTube animation, your description of that. Who knows? Who knows, though? There's some creative minds out there.
There is.
Who might try to
Big
turn that into a
thanks-
lighthearted rump. Yeah?
Talking about our listeners being awesome, big thanks to Tyler and Mohammed, who got me things. Again, I don't
They
deserve
did?
any.
Oh, that's nice.
I got a Skeleton Warrior, which, as anyone knows, that's one of my favourite cartoons from the 90s, which was literally about skeleton warriors. He got me a Racula, which was my best one off it. It was a skeleton with like 6 arms. And I got a Nightstorm Predator, which was another one of the Kenner Alien vs. Predator toys. And he's got a big cannon that clips to his waist and it shoots 2 spears. That's cool. So thank you guys for that. As I said, like last week, it's very humbling and cool that people get me things.
I was going to make a list like that, but I forgot.
Right, as well.
People do want to buy me Yeah, I guess so, right? I don't know.
Me and Max feel like guilty freeloading whores, so you might as well.
You're not, though. You're giving people a vessel. I mean, I learned that with the Talking to Women About Video Games album, which I put on sale with your song on it this weekend. And I wasn't sure. Some people are having trouble re-downloading the album for no additional cost with the new songs on it, which is what I was told you could do. That's what Bandcamp told me. But some people are having issues with it, so I'm like, yeah, I'll just drop the price to 99 cents. So even if people do have to buy it again, they'll get those new 5 songs for just $1. It's 20 cents a song. It's not that bad. And yet people still decided to buy it for $10. It's like, you really didn't have to do that. All I expected was 99 cents. And, about 50 or 60 people bought it for 99 cents. But then people are buying it for $3, $5, $10 because they want to show us that they like us. And that is very nice. I'm not going to reject being told that I'm liked. I'm going to feel liked and revel in it while I still can. So thank you so much, everyone who did that. That means a lot. And that money is going to be divvied out and given to all the artists who contributed to the album within the next couple of days.
I really don't need any money.
I'll give you the money.
I know you promised me the 40 cents that I was going to get for my song.
That was one thing. One person. This is how much people love you, Jim. There's an album on sale for 99 cents. It has 34 songs on it. And then there's one out of those 34 songs available for 50 cents. One guy was like, I'll just buy his one song. They could have gotten all 33 other songs for additional 49 cents, but nope. It's just all about you. And they missed your bonus track, too, because they put your original recording on as a bonus track, which people are saying they really like.
What?
Good job. Yeah, they like it. They think
I sound like Ed Furlong when he was in his Japanese album.
They think it sounds sincere and genuine, and that's great. I did a song on there, and I recorded it one way, and then I let one person listen to it right before I was going to upload it. They're like, nope, too much vibrato. You sound like a real singer. Re-record it and sing without any vibrato, because otherwise people are going to think you're good. And no one likes people who think they're good. You got to know that you are no good, and then people will like you.
I did my best on the bonus one. I tried.
I died laughing. Yeah, the whole rant you do at the end about the different video game characters, and then for the troops, I was laughing real hard. You did good.
Thank you. Yeah, I only did it for fun, and because you asked.
Yeah, I appreciate the help on that, Jim. Meant a lot.
This is going on way too late. Let's do some more questions quickly. Flash Klein says, my brother stayed over at my house and lost one of his earplugs. We looked everywhere but couldn't find it. I did, however, find it the next day after it had travelled through the digestive system of my new puppy and presented itself intact on top of a fresh pile of poo. My question to you is, should I tell him the truth about how I find it, or is ignorance bliss?
Earplugs. Those, I don't know much about them. If they're the hard plastic kind and you can disinfect and wash, yeah, you don't need to tell them. Because it's not like it never happened after you've cleaned it, if you bleach it and stuff like that.
That's it. It's things being in poo or on a bum or brushing against a ball. It's like, it's more mental than anything else. Like, I mean, even if something like had touched if a French fry had touched a penis, right, and you ate it, wouldn't kill you.
No, there would be no harmful germs. It might even be good for you. Might even give you some penicillin.
Unless the penis itself was rotten and infected, in which case don't eat the French fry. But, I mean, it's always mental, it's like, I mean, there are people, many people who don't mind popping a penis in their mouth and, sucking it
I've met people like that.
Until ejaculate comes out of it and goes in their mouth and down their throat or dribbles down their chin. But if you took the same penis they had in their mouth and just sort of poked the steak they were eating with it, they'd not want to eat the steak. Yeah, it's all mental. It's all context and mental.
What a good way of putting it.
And because I always use this test, it's like, if you had, like, delicious orange Fanta, right? So tasty.
Oh, yeah. It's a good drink.
Delicious and refreshing. Yeah. But you were drinking it out of a toilet, right? A toilet that just hadn't been used as a real toilet. It'd just been fresh out the factory. I think most people wouldn't drink it anyway, just because they're drinking out of a toilet. It's all mental. So what I would say,
psychological.
So what I would say, Flash Kleins, it's. I don't think there's anything morally wrong if you were to clean it and make sure that there were no poo germs on it and just gave it to the guy, because it would just be like it was brand new. It just depends on how much you think the mental sort of how much the mental thought of it means to you as to whether you want to tell him or not. I would say ignorance is bliss.
Absolutely. You don't want to convey information. Like if I tell a woman that she's got a huge ass, not only does that tell her that I think she has a huge ass, but it's also implying, and you better do something about it, or else I wouldn't have bothered telling you. Yeah, the implied information that comes with making a statement is just as powerful as the statement itself. So by telling him this was in dog poo, you're telling him, I think it's still poopy. But if you clean it good, make it like brand new, he doesn't need to know where the poo and the earplug once met, right, Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah, we killed that. We overstated that. I did anyway, to the 9th degree.
It was fun to talk about.
I liked it.
Yeah. Mr.
Yeah.
Calypso says, Jim Sterling, if you could add xenomorphs to any movie and make it better, what would it be? I answered this the other night, like sometime last week, because I was watching Alien 3, as you do, and tweeting about it, and there's a scene when they're gonna try and fight the alien, and they set up these, like, traps to get it. Like, they set up, like, oil on the floor to set light to sort of drive the alien to one sort of position and get ready to trap it in a room. And the way they were setting it up looked like the way Macaulay Culkin sets up traps in Home Alone. And that's what I want to see. I want to see, what's his name in that? Kevin? Little Kevin?
Yeah, Kevin. Well, that's right.
Yeah, I want to see Kevin versus aliens. And have, like, the xenomorphs try and break into the house, and oh my god, a can of paint's hit them on their head, and they have trodden on some broken up Christmas baubles up a tree.
That would be fun to watch, especially if he didn't die. I mean, I don't expect him to win, but
yeah,
I wouldn't want him to get, like, disgustingly either impregnated or just have a mouth go through his skull. That would be depressing. Yeah, good idea, Jim. I like it. That wasn't for me to answer too, right? That was just for you, right?
I mean, you can answer it if you want, if you think your xenomorphs would be good enough.
I like xenomorphs a lot too. I don't think I'm as loyal to them as you, but I like Alien 1 and 2 a lot. I kind of want to see cute little ones like xenomorph babies in like a Gremlins type movie. That would be fun for me, like a PG-13 rated laugh-a-minute riot. But they're still murdering people and stuff like that, but it's just a lighthearted romp. That might be cute. I'd like to see xenomorphs in a kind of a... No, I changed my mind about that. I was thinking David Lynch doing one of his movies, but he would just kind of beat around the bush too much, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, forget it. Yeah, so that's my answer, xenomorph babies. They'd be cute.
Darren is awesome says, what kind of phones do you guys use?
I use a pink phone that I found. I didn't buy it. I don't care about smartphones.
That is absolutely you. That is. I found a pink phone and now I use it.
Yeah.
That is Jonathan Holmes.
Yeah, I was like, "Can I use this phone?" They're like, "Yeah, let me plug it into the system." Then he gave it back to me. He's like, "Here you go," and that's my phone. It's pink.
Where did you? I mean, you essentially stole a phone.
No, it was found. It was a found phone. It wasn't stolen. It was in a pile, I think.
Oh,
or maybe it was under a bush. It was good. It was a good phone. It is a good phone. I'm still using it now. I like it. It's true. It's a good phone, man. I'll show it to you at E3. I can dial you up on it and make a call with the phone that I have.
Hey, fair dues.
Yeah. How about you?
I use a Samsung Galaxy S.
What's that?
It's a cool little phone. You know, it's an Android phone. Does all the things.
Yeah.
It's got
I like
stuff.
Android.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does well.
Android's a good phone. Yeah. It's cheaper. It's cheaper and just as functional.
Look at all these sites that got Never Dead reviews up. I haven't got my fucking copy yet.
That's weird.
Konami.
Yeah, Konami. I wonder, but it's weird. They are they holding a grudge against us or something? Did we do them wrong?
Actually, I had a big discussion with them last week where they were like, "Guys, we
don't like you?"
No, they were quite friendly. They were trying to fix things.
Oh, good.
But yeah, Konami's always been weird with this. I'm trying to make it better.
Oh, good.
I thought I had, but Where's my never dead review?
They've always been nice to me, but they'd. I was trying to set up interviews with Talk Fuji and other people, and they'd seem really excited about it on the first email, and then like 3 months later, me saying, "You haven't written back to me yet. Are you? I've written like 10 times. I don't know when that happened. Come on, Konami, love us. It's easy. Isn't it easy to love us? Just respond and be nice about it. It's easy. Just do it. Anyway, yeah.
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 Hmm.
More questions, Jim?
What have we got? VG Freak 1225 says favorite video game cartoon. Go.
Oh, like legit, or it's so bad it's good? I wonder.
I just whichever one is your favorite for whatever reason, I guess.
I really liked the original Street Fighter animated movie when it first came out, and also the Darkstalkers animated series, because I really thought those characters lent themselves well to animation. But I also love the Animal Crossing movie. I don't know if you've seen that, Jim, the Animal Crossing animated movie. Out of all the things people hate Nintendo of America about, you should be hating them not for Last Story and Captain Rainbow, blah, blah, blah. You should be hating them because they never brought the Animal Crossing movie out in the United States, because it's amazing. It is so good. God, it's good. I'm feeling it right now. I'm feeling how good it is. Wow. You know how nothing happens in Animal Crossing? And that's like a really bold thing to make a game where like it's literally the most uneventful experience you can imagine, right?
Mm.
They did that in a movie. Nothing happens in that movie. It's like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm digging a hole. Why? I don't know. Why are you dressed like a ninja? I thought I just dressed like a ninja today. Okay. Hey, what are you going to do? I'm going to go down on the beach. And then there's just a wolf sunbathing at the beach. You're like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm trying to get a tan. You're a wolf. You're never going to get a tan. Ha, 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 ha. That's what you think. And then the wolf gets a tan. And it just goes on like that. It's so good. It really relaxes the crap out of you. It's seriously almost like medication. Watching that movie just lulls you right into a sense of serene, calm, problemless fantasy. Yeah. Anyway, sorry for the long answer there. How about you, Jim?
I would probably say, just in terms of nostalgia and fond memories, the Super Mario Brothers, the one that was based on Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh, yeah.
What was it
The
called?
later
Was
one.
it just called that? The one where Bowser looked nothing like Bowser ever. Like the
Yeah.
big crocodile guy.
Yeah, he was dark green over his entire face and had huge nostrils and like looked kind of ineffectual and confused all the time,
Yep.
as most people with a big head and little body
And
look.
at the end of every episode, he would fight and run away and live to fight another day.
I can't remember what that one was called. It wasn't the Super Mario Brothers Super Show anymore.
I think it may have just been called Super Mario Brothers 3 or something.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, and I like Captain N a lot too, but that wasn't. When you go back and watch that, it hurts a little bit. Unlike the Street Fighter movie, which I still legitimately like to watch for the fight scenes and the drawings are nice and stuff like that. That Cammy scene in the beginning is really good. Anyway,
Altura Iscariot just sent me a beta invite to the Steam mobile client. That's cool.
Oh wow!
Thank you,
for the
Altura
Android
Iscariot.
phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. Thank you. I don't know if he listens to. I think he listens to Podtoid. Yeah, I'm sure I've answered questions from him before. Here's an interesting. This will be because I've got to. My back's fucking screaming now. I've got to go and
Okay.
straighten it out. But one more, because Anne Noise. It's something I've wanted to address before. Actually, she's a very interesting question. Do any of the Podtoiders consider ad blocking on sites like Dtoid or Congregate or anywhere else that renders a service at the cost of ads a form of piracy? I'm subverting the cost of playing on Congregate with adblock. Am I horrible? That's a very interesting question.
Yeah.
Now,
It's a tough one.
because, that's how I make my money. Entirely. Like, I feed my family on money generated from ads. Because if Nero doesn't get money from our ad providers for the ad served, he can't pay me.
Right. Sure.
And Destructo is doing very well, I must say. I've never had any problems, and I've been able to live a fantastic have a dream job and everything. So I'm incredibly grateful to those who do support Destructoid by having ad block off. In fact, one guy recently said on Twitter that he watches Jimquisition and deliberately turns ad block off for them. He said it's like the only thing he does it for. He turns Adblock off to watch Jimquisition just for that extra support, and that is fantastic. I know ads can be annoying, especially because we use an ad provider which has like random ads, then some companies sneak on like annoying pop-up ones, which Destructoid completely disagrees with. We work very hard. I say we. I mean our tech guys and Nero work very hard to remove annoying, obnoxious, obtrusive ads the moment they appear. So we want the ads to be there, but not at the cost of user friendliness. And yeah, it's weird. It's like if someone tells me, I read Destructoid with an ad block on, I don't think they're a bad person. They want a good service. They want to make things easy for themselves. And they think, using ad block gives that service to them. I would simply ask, very politely, that they consider having ad block off while reading Destructoid. I wouldn't say they're stealing from me. I wouldn't say, you're a terrible person. But I would, just ask very humbly, if you like what Destructoid does, consider turning it off. That's at no monetary cost to you. We don't charge for anything apart from the shitty Podtoid app, which people do buy, which, again, I've said every week now. Thank you so much for that. It really is sort of mind-blowing. But yeah, I mean, that's really where my position on it. It's like, you've got the freedom to control the internet however you want. The power's in your hands to support a site or not. I would ask, if you like what we do, then turn it off. But otherwise, the content's there. Enjoy it how you wish.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's I'd ask people to think about it. If they just don't think about it and turn adblock off, and then suddenly Destructoid is out of business, which could happen at any time to anybody, any website. They're folding all the time. You never know. Then they're going to feel. I hope they would feel somewhat part of that, because it's hard to make money on the internet, and there's many ways to get around the few ways there are to make money on the internet. So, and likewise, if Destructoid continues to exist and they have adblock off, then they are contributing to us continuing to do our job. So just if you want us to exist, have adblock off. If you don't care if we exist really and you're just looking for a place to read the news, yeah, then turn it on. As long as you know what you're doing, then do as you will. Express your free will and your desires for how things go from here. That's the way to do it. It's like voting almost. Isn't it, Jim? It's like voting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do what you want.
Yeah.
As someone who's very pro-consumer and pro-service over anything else, it would be hypocritical of me to get angry and demand that you turn your ad block off when you're just trying to make an easier time for your browsing as you want. So yeah, that's why I'm at your mercy, And I've even said this to people that don't like me. It's like the power is in your hands all the time to stop paying attention if you don't like me. Keep your ad block on. Don't post comments, because that can attract attention from people refreshing who don't have the ad block on. Because I've had some people who show off. They're like, haha, I'm breaking the system. I have ad block on, so I'm not giving you any money, Jim. But I'm like, yeah, but you're posting, and people are attracted to that post because you're starting a shitstorm, and that will indirectly fund me. So yeah, I mean, if you want to kill us, then just don't read at all, because any sort of view will help us.
Just page views alone helps.
Page views alone, yeah. I mean, they give us clout with advertisers and stuff. Even if you're not directly paying, the numbers are good enough to get us some good deals and ad things. I say us, Nero and his team, because we sort of keep ads and editorial very separate for obvious reasons. Sure. But yeah, that's where I am. That was a very serious answer.
Yeah, that was good, though. People want to know what it's like to be us, and that was a real answer about how we think about how we make a living, in part. For me, it's in part. For you, it's pretty much 100%. This whole internet thing where you're writing about the video games there. You're doing it. Yeah. Good on you.
Well,
You did
I
it.
think we'll be going to wrap this up now.
Sure, man. You're in pain. That sucks.
Yeah,
Thank you for
it's
toughing out a
heavy.
show. You could have yelled and screamed at me. I deal with people that are in pain a lot. They're not always very nice, but you were super nice this episode. 100%.
Probably
So,
nicer because I'm now more docile.
yeah,
I didn't want
maybe.
to shout too much, and because that would hurt.
Hurt your spine. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you once again, listeners, for tuning in. Thanks to Max for staying and then having to go because he's got a real job and a life unlike myself. And Jonathan Holmes, who also has a real job and comes home from it to listen to more mentors shouting at him.
I enjoy it.
Thank you. And,
Yeah.
what am I doing? I've forgotten how to close the show.
You're closing us up. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
you're going to talk
Fuck.
about what we're working on and
Damn right.
thing. Yeah.
Check us out on destructoid.com. Check out Machinima's YouTube channel. I've got a video on there which we discussed earlier. That's the video game show What I've Done, which is about a game called Modern Warfare 3 Black Ops, which is a funny video. This week's Jimquisition was on escapistmagazine.com. It was about how to fight piracy by providing a better service. I'm very proud of it. Jonathan Holmes, what you got in the works, my friend?
Sup Holmes is going to debut, I think, this Sunday with Tyrone Rodriguez, who is the CEO of Nicholas, I think you pronounce it. He actually won't give me a straight answer on that. I've been asking him for years. He published VVVVVV on the 3DS. He published Cave Story on Steam and also on the DS and on the Wii. He published Night Sky. He's got more stuff coming up. He even hinted that he's working on a Wii U project, but I'm not sure if I can really talk about that. So, yeah, we're going to debut this live stream show at, I think, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, which is 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the Destructoid live stream channel, and there'll be a link to that on Destructoid.com. It's a talk show. It's going to be a weird show. I think it's going to be like 50 minutes. We're also going to turn it into just a podcast if people would rather hear that discussion just on there, the audio only type deal. And you can email a question for me or Tyrone to it's holmesupholmes@gmail.com. holmesupholmes@gmail.com. Yeah, that's a new show I think we're going to do this Sunday. Weird. It's weird to do a new show, Jim.
And that's SUP, S-U-P. Holmes,
S-U-P,
S-U-P,
not soup.
Holmes, all one word.
Holmes, yeah. Yeah. Hopefully you'll get on the show at some point. Oh, and I think Shannon from the E3 coverage of the Wii U is going to be on the why are you laughing about that? She's going to be I think on the
Just
Valentine's
because of the
Day
weird
episode.
underground phenomenon that Shannon is.
You know, she has, I'm guessing, around 6,000 diehard fans. Like the most boring video ever, which is of a Wii U game called Measure Up, where I draw a line and try to make it exactly 3 inches, and then you draw a line and also try to make it 3 inches. Who got closer to 3 inches? Like, literally, it doesn't get any less entertaining for a video than that. It got like 8,000 views. And then all the comments were like, Shannon, do you like video games for real, or are you just pretending? I hope you really like them, giggle. You know, just in love with Shannon. And it's not, she is very pretty, but she's also just really funny and genuine and smart. And I fixed her up with Tommy Reffinitz, the programmer for Super Meat Boy. So I helped them find love. They said they'd name their first dog or child after me.
Aww.
Yeah, true story.
Well, there you go. That's all lots of stuff you can do for a bit. If you
I talk a lot.
If you've got some money to waste, literally waste, you can buy the Podtoid app on Amazon for like, I think $2. Or you could, if you really want to waste your money, you could always ask me for my Amazon wish list and buy me a Kenner Alien, maybe. I'm a terrible person. But
No,
otherwise, if you're just in it for the great audio laughs, you can check us out on Podtoid next week, I guess.
Yeah, I'd enjoy that. I hope you keep listening to the show.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, it means a lot to me.
Oh, please come over and listen.
Oh, and then Lee, I wonder what's going to happen with that Lee Alexander idea. That could happen next week. It could.
Happen next week.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, well. Bye.
It's a good ending, Jim. I like the way you ended that.